to go racing.
The pressure is really on now. And it's pole position.
And it's pedal to the metal. Go, go, go! Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to PSGL, Premier Sim Gaming League's back once again on Thursday night. 2 rounds to go, but the story is far from over. Jano Atmer can capture the Drivers' Championship tonight, as well as Mercedes picking up the Constructors. They're 99.9% of the way there, just that little 0.1% to go. But nevertheless, we have got a race that hangs in the balance. Well, 2 races that hang in the balance, but it all depends on what happens tonight. We are off to Jianying in Shanghai, China. We're looking forward to it, folks. It's going to be absolutely superb. What an extraordinary race we have in front of our feet. It's going to be brilliant. I hope you're all enjoying yourselves there at home. Please make sure you slap a subscribe and also leave a like to this channel and this video, and this stream, should I say, here at PSGL. It's a pleasure to be back here once again. Dan Field is with me too. Dan Field, what an exciting event we have on our hands here tonight.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And coming off of what was probably one of the most eventful league races in all of F1's time, it is going to be an absolutely brilliant Grand Prix. I cannot wait for it. It's going to be absolutely cracking, George.
Oh, I'm absolutely bracing with anticipation. I cannot wait for what we're going to see. Obviously, all the talk after last week, and I know me and you have talked about it off air as well, Dan. Obviously, a lot has been spoken about what happened last week at Austria. It can't go without saying, obviously, we've seen it before. Mercedes camp, Rosberg and Hamilton, they came together, and last week fireworks were literally flown everywhere. Everyone had something to say on the Jano Atmer Danny Moreno incident. The big question is, though, Dan, are they on the same page here tonight?
I think they've got to work together tonight. They really do. Of course, they are both fighting for the championship at the moment, the Drivers' Championship, but I'd say that Mercedes World Constructors' Championship, that's got to go to them tonight. I'd imagine they'd have to wrap it up. They can't have any more funny business like that last week, because it really sort of set a tone for a couple of days on the league racing scene and in the community, especially on Twitter. It was not the nicest place to be, to say the very least, but hopefully that's in the past, and the drivers, they can move on from it tonight and leave those personal feelings outside of the sim rig, and they can get underway racing and nice and clean today.
Yeah, absolutely. Whatever happens, folks, we've got an extraordinary couple of races still remaining. As I said, we're at China here tonight, but next week we're off to Portimao, one of the newer tracks on the Formula One game. I personally am very excited about that fact. We're very much looking forward to heading to Portimao. I've been looking at the track, I've played it, I've been on it, driven on it. It is absolutely brilliant, and I'm looking forward to bringing the racing there as well, folks. In terms of a broadcaster, it's got everything you could want. Lots of corners, plenty of opportunities for overtaking, and not only that, the spectator cameras, which Tom97 told me about, said, George, you're going to love these, mate. He said, George, you're going to love the broadcast cameras. I had a little dabble myself. They were superb. Big thank you to Tom for that one, of course. Just looking at the standings actually heading into tonight's race at China, folks. 17 points is all that separates Jano Atmer and Danny Moreno. What Danny needs tonight more than ever is, well, he needs to get ahead of Atmer. He needs to bring that points gap down to at least bring about a championship fight at Portimao. That is the big scenario. Jake Benham also still in the fight, 42 points. He's 18 points back from Jano Atmer. Obviously, 16 points is what gets you for a win in this championship, folks. So it's all on that tonight. Moreno needs to finish ahead of Atmer in order to keep the championship alive. Same for Jake Benham as well. But obviously, the Mercedes, after an absolutely inspired season as well. They've been in the points. Danny Moreno has only been at the points twice. So has Atmer. Fairly consistent in between the two. Atmer, though, still chasing that third win of the season, Dan.
Yeah, he's been a little bit shy of wins recently. He's not taken a victory since round number 3, and we're at round number 8 last here today. So it's been 3 races. Of course, we can't count Italy for what went on there, but it's been a bit of a drought for Jano Atmer, and he's not even been on the podium since that Belgian Grand Prix. So his gap, while it looked insanely huge in the beginning of the season, it really has taken a dip in recent weeks, and other drivers have been able to capitalise on the shortcomings of Jano Atmer, like such as Danny Moreno, who's been able to get on the podium last race, Jake Benham, podium in Britain. So all of these guys, they've been punishing Jano for the stuff that's been going on. And granted, you know, you could say Austria, that wasn't his fault. I'd say that's a racing incident personally, but it really is just showing how perfect you have to be, because other drivers, they won't give you any leeway. They will pounce on your mistakes.
You certainly will. And the great thing about this championship, we have got so many top-end drivers, and all of you guys in the live chat as well, you love to get involved, and we love it too. We've just been reading in there now, a lot of names being popped up. Obviously, Jano Atmer, a lot of fans here for the Dutchman, but also the likes of Freddie Rasmussen, Danny Moreno. We've also got Joni Tomlin, not to mention the likes of well, look at Patrick Sipos as well. Lucas Blakely, for one, who has been absolutely outstanding in pre-season. Hasn't quite captured the form that we would have hoped that he managed to inspire in pre-season. But hey-ho, 2 races left. He could be in with a chance. We'll have to look forward and see whether he can do that. But Joni Tomlin, one of the surprise packages of this season, Dan, picking up a win at the Netherlands. And again, this time, a 2nd place at Britain as well. He has got some form behind him.
Yeah, and he was looking on for some great points last week in Austria. Then he had that spin at, I believe, turn number 3. So I'm not too sure what went on there, but all we just saw was him facing the complete wrong direction. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to finish in the points, and because of that result, he was eliminated from championship contention. But certainly, he has been a driver that has been a bit of a surprise to me. And he started the season a little bit slow off, you know, in the lower end of the points. And then he's really, in the last couple of races, he's come completely alive. Of course, the Dutch Grand Prix really does spring to mind for me. It was brilliant to see how he executed the strategy perfectly. When other drivers fumbled the ball, he managed to keep his cool, and he took that win pretty convincingly.
Absolutely, Donoso, extraordinary, and Sipos as well. Alpine coming in with a very, very strong group of drivers. We've got Nicolas Longuet racing tonight as well. Let's just talk about some of the replacements as well, because we are missing a few names. Tomek Paragic is not racing in the McLaren tonight. Louis Welch stepping in as his replacement. Poatel Stachilek comes into Red Bull in place of Freddie Rasmussen. Dylan Warren back up into Tier 1 after a long layoff. He's replacing Daniel Haddad at Aston Martin. We've got John Evans also coming in, a man who has really been in good recent form as of late. He did win in WOR earlier on this week. He replaces Domenico Lavecce at Ferrari. So just to give you a quick rundown of all the drivers tonight, we've got Jano Atmer at Mercedes with Danny Moreno, Stachilek and Vallejo lineup for Red Bull. We've also got Aston Martin with Lucas Blakely and Dylan Warren, McLaren with Wilson Hughes, remember CRG Sparks, who has won several PSGL titles on the PlayStation side, who has made the recent switch to PC. He's looked very quick. Keep an eye on him as well. Louis Welch partnering up with him at McLaren. Nicolas Longuet and Fabrizio Donoso are in the Alpine. Ferrari are going with Ben Chiabo Cogni, as well as HX4K, you said it, that's John Evans. AlphaTauri there with Joni Tomlin and Sebastian Job, as well as Alfa Romeo. They're going with Philip Presnader and Thymen Shooter, and Haas, Jake Benham and Cedric Tomate back again as well, with Williams opting once again for Patrick Sipos and Michael Romanidis. Certainly esports talent across that grid once again, and it's amazing to see these drivers committing right through the season so far.
Absolutely. Once again, a stacked grid as always that we've got here. All of our championship contenders, they are currently on the grid. They are racing tonight, so we could have a real last gasp for some of these drivers, and they'll be fighting for their lives. And it's great to see again the stars of tomorrow. You know, you got the likes of Dylan Warren, HX4K, Wilson Hughes. You've got them all mixing in with some of the best drivers that we've ever seen on the F1 games. So that is what League Racing does, people. It brings the esports talent, and it allows for the stars who are about to break through to really test their guts against the top guys. So it's brilliant to see that PSGL once again delivering on such a brilliant grid.
Yeah, absolutely. And China as well. Let's have a look at the track tonight. 16 corners are what these drivers are going to have to face here tonight. That's 5.451 kilometers at this circuit, 3.388 miles here at China. And obviously the first sector is one of the more interesting parts. Obviously you head into turn 1, but that's not the only place you're going to be going in sector 1. You've got the likes of turn 2 and 3 almost instantly. You're cutting back on yourself out of turn 3, heading through turn 4, down through towards turn 5, and then you're weaving through that semi-chicane section through 7, 8, 9, a double left when you head into 10 as well, down through towards turn 11 where it commences sector 3, and you've got that mighty in-swinger that heads around. That's turn 12 into 13, down the long straight, down towards the speed trap at the end of that straight with the DRS open, and turn 14 is where you then hit the hairpin at turn 15 then for that little kink right just before the pit entry line, and then of course you've got turn 16, that very, very tricky final corner where invalidations are very common in qualifying, and then the DRS opens up again on the following lap. But let's talk about this circuit. Obviously, like I said, very treacherous, certainly lots of opportunities for invalidations. I'd say probably 2 of the major points, Dan. You can invalidate out of turn 10, you can invalidate out of turn 16. It is that tough. And in terms of overtakes, you've got that back straight, that really long one with the DRS opening up, but when you hit turn 14, you sort of see a few late breakers, don't you?
Yeah, it's a very tricky circuit for the drivers tonight to manage and race each other. It's also very difficult to follow around here. There's a lot of long sweeping corners, especially in that middle sector in the dirty air, especially on this new game. It is lethal when you're following a car. So when we see big trains, you see the drivers at the back, they'll probably struggle quite a bit when it comes to race trim. But of course, we got qualifying up next. I believe the drivers are just loading into the lobby now, George.
They are indeed, yeah. We're just receiving the invites for the session, folks, so we'll just load in. But obviously want to hear from you as well. Who do you think is going to get pole position in qualifying? Obviously, we're having our usual format, Qs 1, 2, and 3. So be sure to land them in the live chat, folks. We want to hear from you. Who's going to be on pole for tonight's qualifying session before we head into the race later on? Obviously, lots to talk about in terms as well, other drivers, prospects for the future. The youngsters giving a great impression. It has to be said, Dan, the likes of Jake Benham as well, who's just recently signed by Veloce. Patrick Saipos, though, how about this man? A bold future ahead for this youngster. He has got a bright, bright future ahead of him at Alpine.
Oh, absolutely. Of course, working in the Alpine team, they're all living together and they've got that close relationship, which is brilliant to see. And he's been really impressive so far this season. He's been super quick as well, of course, winning the British Grand Prix. It's absolutely incredible to see how good he has been recently. And of course, I actually don't really remember where he finished last time out in Austria, but I do remember him having some good pace, and I believe he is just pulling out the pit lane now, as all the drivers do. They're all on the intermediates, as you would expect, George. Yeah,
they are, absolutely. Common trend here. Certainly, when it comes to the F1 game, certainly for these guys at the top end of PSGL, all of them adopting the early intermediate stint, where, of course, they can get used to the track, initiate what I would say probably an installation lap, just to get some sort of a time on the board, and then they'll switch then to a set of the dries. What this does mean, obviously, is that we're not going to maybe have rain heading into the race. We could be in for a dry session tonight.
Yeah, it's possible to have some rain around China. You know, it's not like Bahrain or Abu Dhabi, where it's pretty much you're going to have a dry race. You can have that little bit of an extra twist to the tail, but it seems like if they're all on the intermediates now, then they're likely going to need the dries for the race. So I'd imagine that we are going to have a dry weather Grand Prix ahead of us, which means they're going to see some installation laps on the intermediate tards. I believe the furthest driver up on their lap at the moment is Dylan Warren, returning to F1. He's been in F2 this season, and now he's back in the limelight, back at the very top, and we'll see what he can do in that Aston Martin.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see what Dylan Warren can do. He's making his way down the stretch now, across the start-finish line to commence his first lap, and as he makes his way up towards turn 1, and just braking at the 50, just cruising the car through, feathering the throttle yet again, heading down into turn 2, and very shortly turn 3 as well. This is turn 2, heading into turn turn 3 now, turning back on yourself in the Aston Martin tonight. Dylan Warren, of course, some of you may remember he was at Aston Martin's former entity, Racing Point, last season, and did give off a great show. Actually looked like one of the brightest stars for the future as well. One of the biggest keen developers in terms of the F1 game. I actually touted him as a potential future star as well, because he has so much quality, but still, he's at a very young, tender age. He's got plenty of time ahead of him, Dan. He could still be a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, he's working very closely with the CRG boys, a part of that team, and that's got some great talent being bred in that very well-respected organisation. Of course, it's had the likes of Time and Shooter, Wilson Hughes come through their system in the past and really blossomed. So I think Dylan Warren, he has certainly got that future ahead of him. He's just got to keep his graph going, keep working hard, and currently he's just coming through the long-winded right-hander onto the back straightaway. Of course, this is not going to be the quickest time we'll be seeing all day, because everyone's on their set of the intermediate tyre. And I believe actually I think the only drivers out on circuit at the moment are on the set of the inters. Unless you're Jake Benham, he's on the full wets at the moment.
Interesting stuff from Jake Benham. Obviously opting to go for something a little bit more treacherous. He likes the challenge, does young Jake Benham. As we're now watching Dylan Warren make his way into the pit lane. Not happy, obviously. Well, I can't imagine he would have been happy with the lap anyway. It's not as if he's going to not set a lap out on slicks, but comes into the pit lane anyway, and that'll be the end of his lap. And certainly now Jake Benham on the wets. And just for those who aren't aware, as I said earlier on, they like to adopt these drivers the wet tyres, or certainly the tyres utilised in wet conditions here in this stage of qualifying, just to save a set of slicks. Obviously, it saves that additional slick tyre for later on. Naturally, no need to wear them out if you don't need to use them right away. So obviously, as part of their strategy, utilising the intermediates and the wet tyres from the get-go. If you don't need them later on, why waste the dries?
Absolutely, we've just seen our first lap coming out. Patrick Sykos at 44.0. Do expect quicker times than that. I promise you, this is the very best of the best, but I already see in the pit lane drivers are fitting sets of slicks, and they should be coming out very soon. And I'm just curious to see all the other drivers, how they're getting on their laps. You can see, of course, they are struggling pretty heavily on the intermediate tyres. I think Jake Benham just run completely deep into the hairpin there, so he is struggling at the moment on the set of the full wet tyres, as you would expect. But the session rolls on. Q1, we've got 12 minutes to go. Drivers should begin to come out on a set of a dry tyres very soon.
Yeah, absolutely. Thyman Shooter up into P2 with Ben Jabo Konyi up into P3. Obviously, those initial times, all in the 44s, though. Not too divisive between these three drivers that have set times. Everyone else is in the pit lane. A lot of them haven't yet to move a muscle. I mean, I would have expected a few more just out and about, just trying to set some initial laps, but no, they're just going to be a little bit patient. And naturally, all of these drivers have different strategies in mind. A lot of them have certainly the backing of engineers with their respective esports teams as well. Mercedes have a very, very busy base up in Brackley, where they all, of course, get themselves ready for the F1 esports season. Of course, Alpine, we know from their current signature series, the Conquest, that they like to utilise certainly the league racing scheme in order to try and develop their drivers and make them race ready for the F1 Esports Pro Championship season that's coming up. And obviously, it's an exciting time for us at PSGL as well, Dan, because obviously a lot of these drivers are featuring in the Pro Championship this year, and all of them representing PSGL very, very well indeed as well.
They're going to be flying the flag with honour, I would imagine, and they are going to absolutely boss it in F1 Esports. It's going to be very soon before we see all of these drivers out on the main stage. Of course, I don't believe they're at the Gfinity Arena, unfortunately, this year. We're doing it all remotely. Well, they're doing it all remotely at F1 Esports. But yeah, I'm just looking at the pit lane right now. It's almost like a ghost town down there. There's no one coming out the pit lane. We've got 10 minutes left. We're almost at the halfway point of the session. We've only had 3 laps set, all of them on intermediates. Then we're just waiting on the set of the slicks. And as I say that, no, it's just a Ferrari mechanic coming out to collect Zara Konyi. So every car's in the pit at the moment.
They certainly are. We're just waiting for them all to, well, waiting for Ben Conny to come in, Simon Shooter as well. He was just making his way down into the pit lane. You can see the Ferrari garage very active in bringing in Ben Conny's car. We've just seen some activity at Red Bull. Poato Stachulek now making his way out onto the circuit. I think Ferrari might have unleashed another car as well. But just to say, folks, if you haven't done so already, please make sure you leave a vote at the top. Obviously, the big question marks around whether Jano Atmer is going to win the title tonight. Please cast your vote in the voting section above the live chat. There you can be able to say or state whether you think Jano Atmer is going to win the title, or is it going to go all the way to Portimao next week. Please land your vote in the live chat. Joni Tomlin out on track now, and he's on soft tyres this time, so no messing about from the Flying Finn.
Yeah, here we go. Now we're going to start to see some laps coming out from these drivers. They're all now exiting the pit lane. They wait for one driver to go. They don't want to be the first to put in their laps, and then they all go like a flock of geese following their mother. And I believe Joni Tomala, he calls himself the father, but he's going to be the mother geese today. He's on circuit at the moment, just coming through the second sector, and he'll be the first one up to put us on a lap. He's got PSGL right behind him, so the Red Bull family going to be leading the pack at the moment. And you can see in the snail section at turns 1, 2 and 3, it's about 4 cars sharing the same piece of rubber. So I think Joni Tomlin has been smart, getting out a bit earlier here, avoiding some of the traffic. He'll be the first one to put us on lap, George.
He certainly will be, making his way down the back stretch now, heading down towards the speed trap at turn 14. And incoming now the AlphaTauri, of course, no stranger to race wins. Of course, many of you remember Pierre Gasly winning at Monza back in 2020. What a race that was, that final safety car that made it all happen. And absolutely extraordinary stuff indeed, as Joni Tomlin now makes his way down towards turn 16. And he'll fly around it now on the soft tyres, and this is where he will soon start his flying lap, heading down now the long straight before he then reaches turn 1. We're right on board here with the Finn. Joni Tomlin breaks into the 50, just loosens down the throttle slightly. Broke a little later than the 50-metre board, but heads around now, heading round the next right-hander, and really cutching in to those apexes there. As you can see, that's how you maximise your time, folks, as now the AlphaTauri flying now down through towards the next right-hander, this next deep right-hander at turn 6. And this is the commencement now of Sector 2 as he makes his way around, just bumps the curve, takes a lot of the curve in fact, and now flies down towards turn 7. Again now, this is going to be the S section of the circuit, a very slim S as you make your way through. And Patrick Saipos there, you can see, just making way for the AlphaTauri now, making his way around the next left-hander again, and another left, which will beckon, heading down towards the next straight. And he'll very soon be making his way down towards turn 11, 100-metre board ahead. He'll break him just after that board. And well before the 50, coming around the next right-hander at turn 12. He's got turn 13 next. And a little flick of the rear there from the AlphaTauri of Joni Tomlin, but okay at least for now, as he now makes his way down the stretch now. A long way to go before you reach turn 14, the speed trap where these cars can well and truly maximise their speed potential underneath the Rolex banners now, heading into the 100-metre board, breaking down now and clipping the curb on the entrance of turn 14 out of turn 15, now heading down towards turn 16, where he will post his initial lap time here, and the quickest time on the board. Is that an invalidation? He got a bit close. It's not. It is an invalidation. Not a good start from Joni Tomlin, Dan.
Was right at the very death of his lap. He was looking so strong for his run, and then unfortunately he invalidated it. He's about a tenth quicker than the man that's just put a lap in at the moment of Piotr Stachelek. He done a 30.6, and Nicolas Longue, what a lap from him, a 30.3. We could see some 29s today. That would not be too far from these drivers as Jake Benham goes into P2 on the front row of the grid at the moment on a 30.5. Sebastian Job just 400ths exactly behind him. So all the drivers putting in laps at the moment, and they are going hammer and tong, George.
They certainly are. Ben Conny crossing the line and setting a representative lap time. John Evans out on track as well. We've got plenty of others though. Danny Moreno, also another one out on track. Simon Shooter is also out and about as well. Plenty of them landing lap times, but Nicolas Longue is still not to be caught just yet. Holding on to his own at least for now. Across the line comes Philip Prejeda. He goes up into P5, just in behind Sebastian Job. Approximately a tenth between, and Michael Romanidis up into P4 as well. And Jano Atmer also out on track as well. around the final corner on the medium tyres. The Flying Dutchman could be champion-elect here today as he makes his way across the line. P13 on medium tyres. Remember, a lot of these guys have set them on the soft tyres. Danny Moreno will be next without question. Heads around the final corner. These two battling it out for the championship as well as Jake Benham. He's going to cross the line and he will set a P6 time of a 1:30.542 on the soft tyres. Jano Atmer, it's on track as well, Dan.
Yep, Jano Atmer looks like he might be going for his second push lap, and as I say that, pulls into the pit lane. So that is the first wave of completed laps done here. Jano Atmer and Ben Jabba, both of them out at the moment. In 16th, 17th, on a set of the medium tyres. Now it is up to them as to whether they want to risk staying on this tyre and trying to get into Q2 on it, or if they want to go on a set of the softs and really push the car to go right to the sharp end of the grid. The drivers we're losing at the moment are those two I've just mentioned, Patrick Saipos, John Evans and Jano Atmer, and the last three of those, they've not set a representative lap time at the moment. I believe we do have Mr. John Evans, Johnny Evans as you like to call him. I think he is on a run at the moment. He's just coming out of the right-hander, coming onto the straightaway here, opening up the DRS, and he might pick up a bit of slipstream from the Mercedes car just in front of him. I believe that is Jano Atmer into the braking zone. Speeds of excess up to 325 kilometers per hour down that straightaway. Now John Evans coming through the final sector here. Of course, he won here last night in F2. What can he do in F1 in qualifying? His first representative lap, he goes into P10. It is a 30.616. Only good enough for 10th. That might not be secure as he would have liked. He might want to go out again. He's got 4 minutes to come back into the pit lane. But brilliant stuff from John Evans to go ahead of some really strong talents here.
Yeah, absolutely. Patrick Saipos is another one on that lap as well. He's absolutely flying. Oh, a little bit untidy. Maybe out of the hairpin bend, though, as he makes his way around towards the final corner at turn 16 and does bail into the pit lane. My comment was well founded. It did look like he was a little sloppy. Simon Shooter also bailing now. And with just under 4 minutes left to go, still Longay untouched on top. Now, this is intriguing. All the cars in the pit lane. We're going to have a very, very busy final couple of minutes here, Dan.
Yeah, and we've got a couple of drivers on circuit at the moment. It's actually the two Ferraris. John Evans on his in lap, and Zabakonier, he's on his out lap. Now, he set his time on the medium compound of tyres. He's out on a set of the red softs, of course, the Red Bull tyre. And Nicolas Longay, he retires in the pit lane, so he believes that he is going to get into Q2 with that time. Wouldn't blame him there. That's a very respectable time. Still pretty clear of some drivers up behind him. Louis Welch in at P2 and Jake Benham in P3 at the moment. Those guys might want to go out because of how close this grid is. You know, 16th position at the moment. The cutoff for Wilson Hughes, he's currently out on a 30.9. And that's only, what, 5/10 off of Louis Welch? So if he can find a massive improvement, then, well, the drivers who are right at the top at the moment, they might not be as secure as they think. So I'd say it's worth everyone coming out again, George.
Yeah, absolutely. They're all making their way out, and certainly most of them in the bottom 10 from P13 downwards, and then Philip Prejnader as well. There's only 2 drivers from P's 10 and onwards, and as I say that, Dylan Warren instantly comes out. That leaves John Evans, who's yet to go. I'd imagine we'll probably see them making their way out if they're in the 136s. I would imagine they will find a lot of improvements at that point. Certainly the track could be warming up as Ben Jabo is going to get the second runs underway now. The Ferrari crosses the start-finish line, and Dan, very, very serious business here for Ben Jabo. The Ferrari really needs to get a move on here.
Absolutely, just coming through the first couple of corners now and into the left-hander here, almost at the end of the first sector. We'll see what he does off the exit of the corner as Timon Shooter does well to get out of the way of Jabakonier into one of the few hairpins around this circuit, and he is 3/10 up on his previous best time. We are expecting an improvement, of course, the grippier soft tyres on board that Ferrari car as he dances through the second sector now. What can he do? Riding through the S's here from the left and into the right, slowing the car down to try and get as much rotation as he can and going into the braking zone. Now picking up the throttle. Be careful not to invalidate here. It is very easy, and he's done that very nicely here. What's his improvement through the second sector? It is 7/10 almost, just about underneath that. as now through in towards the third sector. And if he gets a good run out of here, well, he's going to be making up time throughout the entirety of this main back straightaway. As what can he do here now under the Aramco signage, opening up the DRS, as Dylan Warren getting out of the way, doesn't want to give any advantage to his rival with any slipstream into the braking zone here, kissing the apex and riding it outwards to complete this lap. What can Zabakonye do? He's currently in 18th position, but he can see himself out of the bottom 5. He absolutely nails this lap. Zabakonye to the line, and it's not enough for him. He's currently 17th position. If he goes back-to-back on this lap, well, he could potentially see at least 15th position, but it's not looking good for Ferrari man here.
No, not at all. Cedric Tomate as well, just making his way around the next right-hander. He, of course, is trying to improve as well. And everyone now in the bottom 10 are all in jeopardy. We'll have to brace ourselves, folks, for this absolutely hellacious ride. It's going to be like a roller coaster at Alton Towers for these final dying seconds, as now Cedric Tomate rounds the final hairpin now, making their way down towards turn 16 in the Haas, riding round the final corner now. And certainly Cedric Tomate looking to poke his car further up in this field now, up to P10 he goes, but is that going to be enough? Wilson Hughes around the final corner as well. He's going to cross the line. He goes into P2 just ahead of Lewis Welch. The times are flying in here now, folks. Poitou Stachulek is going to be next to cross the line, but a big time there from the former PlayStation champion Wilson Hughes.
Yeah, and Yanni Tomlin has just completed a lap as well. He was right plumb last at the bottom. He's now in P3 as Patrick Sipos trying to find an improvement here. Jano Atmer has seen himself out of the top 5. Stachulek coming into the pit lane. His qualifying is over. Here comes Sipos towards the line. And he's not been able to get out of Q1. Plum last for him. Danny Moreno goes to the very top of the order. And Room Vallejo trying to do a last gasp to get out. But I think he invalidated at the final corner. And so he is out of this session as well. And Dylan Warren is going to be the last one in that bottom 5 to be able to put in a time. And he goes into P6. That should see him safely through into the next session. And sees Philip Prejnader 16th and out, George.
Certainly does, and Thyman Shooter making his way up. Louis Welsh crosses the line into P9. The Padman strikes again as well. Jake Benham comes across the line. He makes his way through. Not sure quite what time he managed to land, but the Mercedes looking so strong already from the get-go. Danny Moreno up there. Jano Atmer was up there. So was Lucas Blakely. Let's have a look at these times, folks. Danny Moreno up on top billing. He is there with a 1:30.295 and an impressive time, actually. 300ths of a second clear of Nicholas Longe. Thyman Shooter in P3, but there you can see Lucas Blakely behind Jano Atmer as well. Wilson Hughes, impressive rise as well. Dylan Warren, welcome back to Tier 1. Yanni Tomlin, he qualifies ahead of in Q1. Jake Benner up there too, but we are going to lose Prejnader, Stachulek, Vallejo, Ben Jabokonye, and Patrick Sipos, who could not get out of Q1. Sensational scenes, Danfield. Amazing stuff indeed. Danny Moreno, I think he swept off the feelings of last week. He's back with a vengeance here tonight. Very encouraging signs to see the machine on P1 and Q1.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It was brilliant from him to see him back in a position where he can be confident. He's only about 300th clear of the drive behind him, so he's not completely out of the mud. He's still got some fighting to do there. And I just want to mention the entire grid was separated by less than a second. So still, I almost lose words as to how close this grid is. It is mental, and that really does get put on display when you could be last, but not even be a second off of the leader.
Absolutely, so close, folks. You cannot believe how tight these guys are. Just to say, a lot of you quizzing in the live chat, are these equal performance? All these cars are indeed equal performance, folks. There is no differentiation between the Mercedes to the Haas. They are all the same performance. So all these drivers have got a fair advantage across this track, and that gives us the fair range of competition that we have here at PSGL. And certainly the same goes for F1 Esports too. But the cars are now making their way out now for Q2, folks, as we head over now back to Shanghai. And there is Cedric Tomate out on an outlap once again, back in amongst the top 10. And Cedric Tomate, another man we expect to be well and truly up there competitive wise. He's been with Haas now for a good number of years in F1 Esports, and I have to say that experience could be key here tonight, Dan.
Yeah, he knows the team well. He's been working with those guys for a really long time. He's got that experience in not only league racing, but in F1 Esports as well. And, well, there is a pretty cheesy saying, but it is, the form is temporary, class is permanent. I would say that Cedric Tomate is certainly one of those drivers. To be at the very top level for as many years as he has been, is not easy. You know, we've seen a lot of drivers in esports come and go. And Cedric Tomate, he's always been a factor in there. So he's going to be in Q2 here, putting on his lap in China. I think he's got just one more car in front of him. I think that's Jano Atmer, the first one out on circuit. So he'll be the first one to put us out on a lap, George.
Yeah, absolutely. On the soft tyres, the Flying Dutchman now making his way down through towards turn 16, the final corner. Let's ride on board with the Flying Dutchman for this lap here around China here at Shanghai, making his way now across the line, the start-finish line to commence this hot lap here in Q2, making his way into turn 1, just braking at the 50, just feathering that throttle ever so slightly around that next right. Now he's going to be hitting turn 2, where of course he doesn't even brush the curb on the entry, heading around turn 3 as well, heading around turn 4 now as well, and very shortly Atmer will then be making his way down towards turn 6. This of course being that very, very tricky hairpin section. This again, very easy to lock up, but he does it well and actually uses the rear end of that car just to scoot his way around it, get some extra rotation and manages to nail it perfectly. Back on the throttle heading around turn 7 and now making his way round towards turn 8 now as well at this magnificent Shanghai circuit. Very shortly around the next left, which is going to lead into a double left out of turn 9 around turn 10, and then another straight. There you can see a car on the left hand side, that being John Evans, who's there just parking up alongside, allowing Atmer through, heading through turn 11 now, soon to be turn 12, and Jano Atmer looking to try and set a nice tidy first initial lap as he makes his way around the next bend at turn 13. The long straight now beckons, full throttle now down this straight where DRS will open up very, very shortly. There it goes as he makes his way down through towards turn 14 now. Speed trap he will hit just under the Rolex banner, brakes at the 100 as he cruises his way into that next right, doesn't even touch the curb, maximises his traction on the road as he makes his way down through out of turn 15, now turn 16 now, and clips the curb. Brilliant stuff, just hops over the barrier or over the little chicane as he makes his way through. 131.166 is what he marks. His initial lap is a good place to start, but I'd imagine he might want to go quicker than that.
Yeah, I mean, the quickest time in the session was a good margin faster, I believe. The last place in Q1 was a 30.9. A lot of these drivers going a bit slower in Q2 at the very beginning, as Michael Romanidis going to third position. So I wonder if there are some sandbags on at the moment. They don't want to burn through this set of softs too much. They might want to do 2 runs on this same tire so they can use multiple in Q3. We just don't know the tactics of these drivers. I'm trying to find someone on a run. I think Danny Moreno pretty far up on his time at the moment. Unfortunately, invalidating that. So I believe Time and Shooter will be next up, a 51.3 at the moment through the second sector. And into the braking zone. Sorry, he's in the final sector at the moment at the hairpin. Now he's coming off the exit here. What can Time and Shooter do in that Alfa Romeo car? Only 3 drivers setting a lap so far, and he backs off on his lap. So, yeah, these guys, sandbags are on, I'd say.
Yeah, they certainly are. Wilson Hughes is not going to be a man though to utilise sandbags. Obviously, the PlayStation, that division was a very, very competitive one indeed. And Wilson Hughes managing to take the title on various occasions. He certainly is one to watch when it comes down to this type of racing. Has really pulled off some absolutely superior performances in the world of sim racing, certainly here on the F1 game, and has just been announced as a new signing for McLaren Shadow as well as part of their academy team. Was only announced this week with all his credibility is now being brought to the forefront at McLaren, round in the final corner, and he's going to cross the line and get his time on the board of P4 at 132.174. We haven't yet to see the best of these guys, Dan. I get the feeling they're saving the best for last.
Absolutely, as maybe they're just trying to set themselves a delta so they can really know where they need to push. I'm not too sure. I'm not going to try and make up stuff that I don't know. As session does roll on, we've only got a couple of drivers setting a lap so far. Jake Benham sliding into the pit lane there. Almost Lewis Hamilton 2007-esque, I would say, for him. As I think we do have a driver on a run. It's Danny Moreno, but again, he's not pushing on this lap, and he might actually be boxing at the end of this one, because I don't believe he's using up any of that ERS.
No, not at all. Danny Moreno coming around into Sector 3 now, just looking to maybe get a time on the board. But like we said, the time starts to whittle down as we go through each session. Eventually, they'll only have approximately 10 minutes in the final session of qualifying, but we're here in Q2 now with 8.5 minutes left in this session now. Danny Moreno heading around the final bend, heading out of turn 14 now, heading around towards turn 15. down through towards the final corner at 16, and the Mercedes is going to box. So they're all going to come out once again. Wilson Hughes is out and about. So is Johnny Evans as well. He's making his way down and through Sector 3. And little to no doubt that he's going to be giving us his best performance. John Evans riding the crest of a wave right now after a very fascinating race in WR. Just a little bit messy coming out of that bend, and I get the feeling that that hairpin is going to be so crucial to what happens in the race here tonight, Dan, because of course it can be so easy to lose traction in a situation such as that, as we now watch Wilson Hughes come in as well. It's certainly going to be one of the telling points, I think, heading into the race. How active or how good are they coming out of some of these bends?
Yeah, absolutely. There are really tricky corners around this circuit. And you have to nail a lap when you're at this level of a grid. You have to nail a lap to be competitive. And I'd like to mention also, I think it's probably pretty stupid from me there that I didn't realise they want to use the mediums because they want to start on that set of the yellow wall tyre. Nicholas Longuet is on a lap at the moment on that set, and I imagine he would be pushing here. So they didn't want to put in a lap that was too competitive. They wanted to set a realistic delta so that they can use that along their lap on a set of the medium compact tyres where they can push and try their best to get into that top 10 so they can start on that compound of tyre. As Nicholas Longuet looking pretty nice on this run so far. This is more the speed that we are used to. Drivers really on the limit, and currently coming through the second sector. We'll see him at the split now. It's going to be a 151.552 through the second sector. That could be decent on a set of the medium compound of tyres, bearing that in mind. Coming off the exit, really swinging the rear end of the car there, sliding, of course, less grip on this set of tyres. It's a lot more tricky to get the power down efficiently, and that has definitely cost them a good few tenths down this straightaway.
Yeah, definitely. Nicholas Longuet now making his way around the final hairpin bend at turn 14. Very shortly, they're going to be making their way out of turn 15, and 16 beckons now. In comes Nicholas Longuet, of course, looking for an improved performance this week as he now comes up towards the line. Nicholas Longuet goes up into P3 at 131.707, and now he's going to have to make his way back to the pit lane, surely, I would imagine, for one more run. But very important for these guys to nail those initial lap times on medium tyres. Very, very useful strategy should you pull it off, but I'd imagine we'll start to see some soft tyres being cranked out at the very end. Donoso is also out on a lap as well. He's making his way out in Sector 2 right now and trying to put his best to the table. Currently lying on a set of medium tyres as well, hurtling around the next left-hander. Alpine clearly have a strategy in mind here tonight.
Absolutely, as a couple more drivers are on runs. I believe Cedric Tomate and Jano Atmer have both opted for a set of these soft compound of tyres, and Atmer is just about to come across the line to set his lap, so he doesn't want to go on the mediums because he's improving by some margin. It's a 30.355 for the Dutchman there, a whole second quicker than his nearest rival of Cedric Tomate, who is granted improving on this lap ever so slightly in that Haas car. As he does pull into the pit lane. He wants to go for a potentially quicker lap, and he's only improving by about 100th of a second, so it wasn't really much justification to keep on that lap and use that set of the softs. So the times are beginning to come out here as Fabrizio Donoso has just crossed the line. He goes quicker than his teammate by about 0.2 of a second there, George.
Yeah, big flex by the Chilean Fabrizio Donoso, winning last week's Austrian Grand Prix, should I say, at Spielberg, and he's back again, P3 on medium tyres. Not a bad place to be if you're Fabrizio Donoso, but Jano Atmer currently on P1, a 130.355, and that surely is going to be a safe time. Naturally looking to get into Q3 at the very first glance, looking ever so good, but he's a second ahead of Cedric Tomate, and that is brilliant to see. But remember, folks, a lot of them have only set times on medium tyres. I would not be surprised if we start to see the softs out, and as we take a look at the tyres, the tyre giveaways, loads of people going out on fresh medium tyres. Absolutely extraordinary. Look at it. Only one driver currently with a set of fresh softs on, or two drivers. You've got Cedric Tomate and Lucas Blakely. And with only 4 minutes to go, this is going to be a very interesting contrast here in amongst this field, Dan.
Of course, we saw the race last night in F2 at this circuit, and the softs did not last very long. They probably dropped off completely by around about lap 5, 6, and 7. And if these guys are planning to do these laps on the set of the softs, but they're going to be certainly committing to either a 2-soft strategy or a soft to the hards. So it is going to be very interesting to see how they get along, as we do have some drivers on runs. Dylan Warren being one of them, the young British driver racing in that Aston Martin tonight, filling in for Daniele Haddad. And we'll see him to the second sector split. What can he do? 51.765 for Dylan Warren. And now through this painfully, agonizingly long right-hander where you just have to feather the throttle ever so slightly and on to the straight here. The back straight, of course, where we will see likely some of the most overtakes in the race trim, but of course in qualifying they don't want to be battling each other too hard, as Dylan Warren reaching speeds of up to about 325 kilometers per hour and then breaking it down to about 60 kph. So it is crazy the stopping power that these cars have. And through the final sector now, Dylan Warren sliding the rear on entry to the corner, and he does that very nicely indeed. As to cross the line, Dylan Warren, he goes slower than Nicholas Longuet, but only by 0.07 of a second. I think Dylan Warren, he's got to be pleased with that lap.
Yeah, he's going to be absolutely delighted. He's up into the top 10, and that's where he needs to be. A 131.714, not bad for that set of tyres. And now we're watching Danny Moreno, currently in P10, no time set. In fact, anyone from P10 downwards, incidentally, Dan, no time set for them. Longuet's out on track. Wilson Hughes now up into P4, trumps Nicholas Longuet, as we're now watching Danny Moreno hurtle his way out on medium tyres up towards the final corner at turn 16, and around he goes, flies through the final corner and makes his way down the stretch. Is it going to be enough to topple anybody up in the top 10? P3, and that is a brutal time, 0.4 of a second near enough quicker, or 0.3 should I say, quicker than Dylan Warren's medium time. And that just goes to show, folks, track evolution, but also give Moreno credit, a good sign of quality.
Absolutely. Danny Moreno, of course, over one lap, he is lethal. We don't call him the machine for nothing. He is incredible when it comes to one lap pace, and certainly in the race as well. He can put up one hell of a fight. Of course, last week we saw in Austria, he was fighting right at the sharp end, as Louis Welch is going to be the next driver who is on a push lap. He backs off and he runs wide there. His teammate Wilson Hughes getting out of the way to the left-hand side. And that's interesting to see. Louis Welch, he was looking like he was on for a decent time there, certainly through the first sector. He looks strong, but it might have just been a mistake. It might have been his teammate putting him off there, but it's unfortunate, and he's going to have to go again because he's only got 55 seconds. If they're not out on circuit, they're not going to put in a lap. So Jano Atmer, confident, he's going into Q3.
Yeah, big pressure on Jano Atmer, as well as all the cars now starting to make their way back out for one final run. Longuet's the other one who's trying to improve. John Evans has just improved and landed himself up into P5. Another great qualifying performance from John Evans, as we're now seeing plenty others come out and about as well. Lucas Blakely being one of them, makes his way around turn 1. Jano Atmer now around sector 2 again, making his way down the stretch now, leading down towards turn 11. And he'll be making that little climb uphill before they then take the swooping right-hander out of turn 12 and 13. And instantly Wilson Hughes retires from the session. P6 is where he sits. I'm not sure whether that will be 100% safe, though. We'll have to wait and see, folks. Plenty of others out on track as well. Jake Benham also out and about in sector 2, trying to fly around the next left. He's making his way through some of the semi-chicane. Sebastian Job is also out too. Plenty of them making their way around as Danny Moreno holds himself in P3. Jano Atmer finishing up currently in P1 spot. John Evans is currently in P5, obviously after settling a lap time. Nicholas Longuet across the line. What's he going to set? P4 is what he gets. So improvement there from Nicholas Longuet to go ahead of his teammate. In comes Jano Atmer up into P5 as well. Plenty of others though still yet to cross the line. Dylan Warren as well, who's improved, heading into sector 3 about just under 1.5 of a second as he now makes his way around turn 16. Dylan Warren looking for an improvement here, needs a big one to stay up in qualifying. Up into P8, is that going to be enough though? We're not quite sure. Sebastian Job making his way down out of sector 3 as well. Tension is starting to rise here, Danfield.
Absolutely. Jake Benham about to cross the line here. He's in the bottom 5, and where can he put that? Has 9th position. Danger for the championship contender, and Sebastian Job could be the one to knock him out here. If he goes into the top 10, Jake Benham out of qualifying. He's in 11th position, and that could be detrimental for his championship challenge if he's not close to his rivals, Jano Atmer and Danny Moreno, who are 1 and 3 at the moment, as Louis Welch just seals the final nail in the coffin for Jake Benham. He slots himself into P10, and Dylan Warren unfortunately knocked out of qualifying. He's in 11th position. We're losing Dylan Warren, Jake Benham, John Evans, Wilson Hughes, and Timon Shooter as well. Couldn't put in a good time, but Jake Benham, this could be bad for him.
It could be very bad news in context of the championship. He's going to be absolutely disappointed. The one recompense he's got is that he will start and have his choice of tyres, but we'll have to wait and see how that does affect things. Naturally, though, a lot of drivers on medium tyres and starting on medium tyres as well, so we have to wait and see what strategies they do pick. Here's the standings, though, folks. Here in Q2, there you can see Jano Atmer qualifying in P1, and that's the reason why he was that second quicker, folks. He was on the soft tyres, as a lot of you did mention in the live chat. In behind him as well, Cedric Tomate in P2 as well, just under a tenth of a second, approximately 900ths of a second slower than Jano Atmer. Danny Moreno, Jano's teammate, in P3 with Nicolas Longue, Sebastian Job. Look at all those drivers on medium tyres. Lewis Welch on the pad, take a bow, but we are going to lose Dylan Warren, Benham, Evans, Hughes, and Timon Shooter. They're all out as we head into Q3, but extraordinary scenes here. Amazing that we're seeing a lot of them flexing the muscles. Medium tyres is the order of the day. That is the strategy that the drivers have picked. We saw it in F2 last night, but amazing that a lot of those drivers made it through. But Louis Welsh on the pad, what a story.
Yeah, Louis Welch, of course, competing here last night in F2. He did pretty damn well and was fighting right towards the very end of it all. Had contact with one of his rivals, which might see him down the order. I'm not too sure how the results ended out on that one, but he has always been very quick at China. Of course, this is notoriously a pad circuit, but you know he's not the only pad driver in this grid for no reason. Of course, he has got to be the best of the best, surely. And he is really putting that on display here in Q3. Once again, flexing his muscles, as you like to put it, as he'll be looking to set a decent enough time to see him right at the sharp end of qualifying. But the first driver out on track at the moment, that looks to be Fabrizio Donoso.
It certainly is. He's making his way out of the pit lane. And heading around turn one now to get us underway here in Q3. A matter of minutes remain now in qualifying. We're getting down to the nitty gritty, folks. This is going to be the straight gunslinging shootout that we've come to expect and learn certainly throughout the PSGL season. We saw it last season as well. This is where things get really, really tense. We see it in real life F1 as well. And certainly these guys here in Q3, certainly these guys in PSGL, do not mess about when it comes to this kind of a session. We've seen the likes of Fabrizio Donoso pull off some worldies as well this season, but the Flying Dutchman, Jano Atmer, no stranger from P1 glory, hasn't had it all his own way this season, though. Remember, last season, he did dominate, but F1 2021, naturally, as new regulations come in real life F1, I suppose you could argue that when the game makes changes, you can argue that those are new regulations. Some of these regulations do suit others, some more than others, and I think for the likes of Sebastian Job, who's just taken an AlphaTauri seat, what a rise he has had, given that he's just been put or been put in that position of the AlphaTauri seat. A huge amount of pressure. Remember, he's used to Porsche Carrera Cup action, so amazing to see him in an F1 car, but I really enjoyed seeing his rise in F1 cars lately.
Yeah, and certainly he's been very impressive so far this season. I'm, of course, casting my mind back towards the Netherlands, where he was fighting for a podium with Louis Welch as well. So it's great to see a lot of some drivers you wouldn't really expect to be competitive with the likes of Jano Atmer, Danny Moreno, you know, your Freddie Rasmussens as well. And it's great to see them mixing it in at the very top of the grid. But Fabrizio Donoso, he'll be the first one to put us on our final qualifying session. 9 minutes to go in this session. We'll see what he can do as he comes into turn one, George.
Yeah, he does indeed, making his way around turn one into turn two very shortly, and turn three will be next. Very important now to hook a lap together. Naturally, we tend to see it. A lot of the drivers like to get in early, just a little bit of a banker lap just on the table to get things going, and I'm sure Donoso is no different, making his way down through towards the next right-hander. And it's now or never now for Donoso. Obviously, Alpine starting to come into their own now towards the end of this season. Patrick Saipos, as I said before, despite driving for Williams in this season's PSGL Championship, he is an Alpine F1 Esports driver, and he has been extraordinary this season. Has scored 2 points at Belgium. He then scored 5 points at the Netherlands, scoring a victory then at Britain, and 2 points last week at Austria. He has been absolutely brilliant, rising to the occasion here with some of the best in the world on the F1
F1 2021 game, certainly here in the esports area of things. And naturally, Fabrizio Donoso is another one that he can learn from. A lot of experience there, including the likes of Nicolas Longuet. It's a huge opportunity here for Patrick Saipos. We're now watching Donoso make his way down the stretch, down towards the final hairpin bend. Certainly here in Sector 3, rounding turn 14 now. Just clipping the curb slightly. Let's see what Donoso can bring to the table. The Chilean, fresh from a win last week, and Austria rounds the final corner. And Donoso will light us and get us underway here as he crosses the line. And surely P1 it is, a 1:30.401. The track is nice and quick, and that's not bad to start.
Yeah, and Cedric Tomate just out the final corner, unfortunately validated his run. He wasn't looking anywhere near Fabrizio Donoso. As Sebastian Job, he's just on his outlap, so that leaves Nicolas Longuet also on an outlap here as drivers just completing their runs. But Louis Welch is the next one who will be towards the end of the lap. Then you got the likes of Jano Atmer and Danny Moreno, if I'm not mistaken, as well in the mix. So as Louis Welch opening up the DRS down the straightaway here. We'll see what the Padman can do. Winning on track here last night in F2 and coming through turn number 14 now. Misses Apex ever so slightly, but off the exit of the corner, he should be able to carry some of that momentum that he took into the corner and through at the final turn here, kissing the Apex very nicely. Louis Welch across the line. Where can he go in comparison to Donoso? He goes to the top. It's at 30.356, and the Padman, he's on fire tonight.
He certainly is. Johnny Tomlin is going to cross the line too as he makes his way across. He goes up into P1 on 1:30.297. Next up, Moreno, who's now making his way around the final corner in the Black Arrow as it rounds the bend. Looking good. In comes Danny Moreno. P4 is all he can muster. He's behind Donoso by 0.2 of a second. Jano Atmer heading around the final corner as well. Also for Mercedes at turn 16. A little bit of a rumble over the curb as he makes his way across the line. P2 in behind Jani Tomlin as he makes his way through. And down through also comes Sebastian Job. He makes his way down through as well. Donoso up into P5 as he makes his way across the pit straight, as well as Lewis Welch. Michael Romanidis up into P3. Amazing stuff indeed. But Jani Tomlin setting that initial lap time with 6 minutes to go. Not bad at all, Dan. And Sebastian Job trumps him. Amazing stuff from Sebastian Job.
A 1-2 for Alpha Tauri at the moment. Nicolas Longuet could be looking to spoil the parties. He's coming through turn number 14 there. Sebastian Job currently on a 30.192. Can Longuet trump him, or can he get close to him? Possibly onto the front row for the Frenchman is coming up towards the line. What can he do? He goes to the top. A 30.0. We could potentially be seeing a 29 on display here. I'm really praying for it, but Nicolas Longuet, what a lap from the Alpine driver.
It certainly is. Lucas Blakely as well looking to try and join the party. Cedric Tomate still yet to field a lap time. This is where it starts to get nut-cutting time here in quali, and certainly Lucas Blakely looking to try and unright the wrongs that he has had in recent weeks. Looking to try and gain himself certainly another podium place. He got a single point last week after a tough race in Austria. 3 points at Britain the week before that one. 2 non-scoring races prior to that too, after a very successful P3 visit at Belgium the week before. But as he now makes his way down towards the final hairpin bend, in comes Lucas Blakely. Can he land something here on the table ahead of Nicolas Longuet, who's currently trumping everybody with a 1:30.074. Lucas Blakely here to make it happen across the line. As he does so, not enough though. P8 is all he can do on the initial run. I get the feeling it's the calm before the storm here, Danfield.
Absolutely, as it is heating up in PSGL here. Nicolas Longuet currently at the top at the moment. I've just got to step away very quickly from the commentary box, but I will leave a message in the live chat once I'm back. But yeah, I'll just be a few minutes here, George.
No problem at all. We're going to lose Danfield for just a moment, folks, so let's try and ride you through qualifying here as there Nicolas Longuet makes his way out of the hairpin at turn 14. Turn 15 is next. He's going to be making his way up towards the pit lane. Certainly won't be deciding to go again. He's just going to ease the car around now as well. Lucas Blakely also making his way down on his cool-down lap. Incredible stuff, certainly, already from the get-go. Very, very close in proximity in amongst all these drivers. If you have a look at the tables, folks, 0.6 of a second, that's all that separates all these drivers between Ps1 to Ps9. Incredible. And that's exactly the talents that we have to offer here today. Cedric Tomate, the only man not to set a lap time, and sitting tight in the pit lane. Obviously, he's going to have one chance to dance here at China. And Nicolas Longuet, though, enjoying top billing. As you can see, the Alpine team just unwheeling him at the garage. And look at that, the Flying Dutchman, the first to leave the garage. Jano Atmer looking to be crowned PSGL champion for the second season in a row, and to crown himself a two-time PSGL champion here tonight. Can he do it, folks? That is the big question. Predictions in the live chat. Who is going to be on pole position for the Chinese Grand Prix? I want to see you all lighting up this live chat here tonight. Is it going to be the Mercedes on top? Can he score himself a world championship crown yet again, with F1 Esports just around the table as well? You can see there his teammate Danny Moreno out as well. So is Cedric Tomate. He needs to get something on the board. He certainly does need to. A lot of pressure now at this stage of quali, but Jano just coasting the car around, just settling himself in. Danny Moreno doing exactly the same as well. All the other cars now making certainly making their ways out on track. I'm seeing a lot of people in the live chat here shouting out names here. Tomlin, Jano, all of them mentioning Jano in the live chat as well. Louis Welch as well. A lot of tips for him. Plenty down in the live chat. Unfortunately, Louis Welch isn't in this session as far as I can see, but nevertheless... Oh, sorry, he is in the McLaren, sorry. But Dan, I understand you are back with us.
Yep, I had to get my message out there a couple more times because of how berserk the chat is going at the moment. But almost all 10 drivers out on circuit at the moment. Lucas Blaney's got to leave the pit lane. And there we are. It should be all 10 drivers out on circuit for their final runs in qualifying here. I believe the first one is going to be the man who could be champion-elect, Jano Atmer, coming off of what was a frustrating race in Austria for the season 28 champion. He's got to put in a good position. He's got to put that Mercedes in a good position, especially since he's starting on a set of the softs. Getting a good breakaway at the very beginning of the race is going to be clinical for him. And if he's mired in traffic, starting in 4th position where he is at the moment, that is not going to be enough. So coming down the straight, the back straight here, he has got to be absolutely perfect on his run, George.
He certainly does. We're now seeing the Flying Dutchman make his way around the final corner. This is absolutely imperative for the Dutchman. It could all come down to this. Obviously, a crown on the table. He's starting on soft tyres in the race. Needs to get pole position, and he knows it as well as he makes his way down the long straight now, heading up towards turn 1. You can see in the background Cedric Tomate crossing the line to start his lap 2 as we're now watching the Dutchman around turn 1. It's never been more imperative, Dan. He needs to get this on the table. The strategy will only work, surely, if he lands himself on P1 for pole position.
Absolutely, and we'll see what he can do through the first sector split here. If he is improving on his previous best, and he is just under a 10th up on his best time at the moment, which is a 30.311. So if he continues on this form, we could see him to be the first driver in the 29s in this qualifying session so far, but he's got to traverse the last 2 sectors, coming through the S's and now onto the double left-hander at the end of the second sector here. Fighting their car on the exit is the Dutchman, Jano Atmer. What can he do through the second sector split? He is a 10th and almost a half up on his previous best. This is still not enough to trump Nicholas Longuet, but if he finds it all in the final sector, he needs currently 2.5 tenths to be on pole and be ahead of the Frenchman. It might not be enough as the clock strikes 0, George. Jano Atmer down the straightaway using up his battery, and he has got the DRS open, speeds of up to 323 kilometers per hour, breaking it down into the hairpin and carrying the momentum out of the penultimate corner, turn 14, and into the crucial turn 15, which you have to get perfectly right off the exit. What can Jano do? Can he beat Longuet? Yes, he can! It's a 29.983. Brilliant stuff from the Dutchman there.
Yeah, the only man to bring the 129s here at the get-go, but he's going to be met with company now as Nicholas Longuet out of nowhere at 129.843 typifies the Dutchman for P1. Michael Romanidis is also up in a P3 as well. Danny Moreno, best he can do is P5. Yoni Tomlin in P6 as well. Sebastian Job making his way down towards the final hairpin. Incredible from Nicholas Longuet to land that crucial blow. Near enough, a 10th of a second separates them. A 10th and a half, in fact. In comes Sebastian Job now. Can he do the damage across the line? P3, he trumps Michael Romanidis. Last but not least, Lucas Blakely as well. We just missed him crossing the line, but we'll see the results now. But wow, what a qualifying session. Nicholas Longuet has come here with a vengeance and has landed himself a P1 spot. Lucas Blakely up in a P4. But how about that, Danfield? A near enough 10th and a half gap between him and the Flying Dutchman. That lap was something special.
A 29.8 on this new patch. I did not think I could see it, but the grid continues to blow me away as Nicholas Longuet take a bow, a sucker punch to Jano Atmer, who might have thought he had it in the bag at that point because he was so confident on his run and he was a good few tenths clear of anyone else. Nicholas Longuet comes out of nowhere to take that from him. He now starts on pole, but what a qualifying session we've just witnessed there, and it's going to carry on into the race.
Incredible. Absolutely scintillating, ladies and gentlemen. PSGL has never failed to blow us away. We've just witnessed an incredible moment in qualifying. A 129.8 from Nicholas Longuet to trump Jano Atmer for that pole position spot. How important is that? How important could that be in the context of the title race? Naturally, obviously, Longuet and Atmer have come to battles before. I remember last season in PSGL where we had the Australian Grand Prix and it was Longuet and Atmer battling on the final lap of that Australian Grand Prix, which landed us in a title battle in the final race at Brazil, where they once again duelled it out on track after being on the front row of the grid. And we're going to be seeing something similar here tonight. This is absolutely incredible. We're going to be jumping into the race now shortly, folks, and obviously I want to hear from you guys at home as well. Thoughts on the race? Who is going to win tonight? Is Atmer going to be crowned champion? Lay your comments in the live chat, folks. We want to hear from you, and if you haven't done so already, please make sure that you also leave a like and subscribe to PSGL as well. The cars now making their way out onto the formation lap. But Dan, incredible stuff, certainly from the get-go. Longuet leading them round in the formation lap in P1. How incredible was that P1 lap in Q3?
It was insanely good. I was expecting at most a high, maybe mid 0.9, and he just sets a 0.8 mid. Incredible stuff from Nicholas Longuet, but you've also got to think of the tyre situation between the two leaders. Slightly scrub set for these drivers. Of course, one lap, both of them, I believe, have put on their tyres so far. But the key factor is that Nicholas Longuet, he has set his time on the mediums in Q2, Jano Atmer on the softs. So you'd expect him right from the very get-go, when you're building up the speeds, when you're shifting up the gears and in towards turn number one, Jano Atmer, he has got to be, he's got to be up the inside. He's got to be trying to find a way to get past Longuet, because those tyres do not last long. About 5, maybe 6, 7 laps is all that they can go, and then they are done. He's got to go on to set the hards at that point, and then the advantage swings over to the medium runners. So he's got to be crucial in the early stages, George.
He certainly does. Longuet now coming around the next right-hander here in the formation lap, turn 13. And I'm seeing lots of people in the live chat talking about who they think is going to win this tonight. Certainly lots of comments about Nicholas Longuet as well. Lots of them saying this is brilliant from Nicholas Longuet. Probably his best performance in qualifying in such a long time. Incredible. Brilliant indeed. And looking throughout the grid as well, lots of supporters obviously for Jano Atmer, plenty as well for the likes of Joni Tomlin as well. We're seeing a lot for Lucas Blakely too. Let's hope we see Blakely back at the top. I'm going to ask you now, predictions. Obviously, please leave your votes in the chat as well, folks. We've got a voting system there as well. Final comments from you, Danfield, before we go racing. What are your predictions? What are you expecting in this race?
Oh, you know what? I couldn't really guess it, but I'm going to say Danny Moreno. Going to be seeking Avengers. He's down in 6th. It's going to be difficult for him, but he's got to get past some key drivers early on here, and he's got that he's got that drive to take the championship fight back to Jano Atmer and trying to seal that gap and bring it to the final race. So I think Danny Moreno, he's going to win this race today.
Here we are. We're seeing lots of comments. Danny Moreno. Lots of people saying, come on, Atmer, as we get ready for the start of this race, folks. I'm going to go for Danny Moreno. That is not Danny Moreno. Sorry, Jano Atmer. That's my pick. Danny Moreno is yours. As that the stewards wave the green flags. Here come the lights. First light, second light, third light, fourth light, the fifth light. And it's pedal to the metal. Go, 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 go. And Nicholas Longuet gets away well, but look at the exit speed from Jano Atmer on the soft tyres. In mind as well, Sebastian Job. He is also in P3 trying to fight it out with Lucas Blakely, but Atmer leads here from the get-go. He leads him around turn 3. Joni Tomlin in mind as well, trying to fight worked his way through. He's got a lot of work to do, but Sebastian Job fights off Lucas Blakely. Michael Romanidis up in a P5 with Danny Moreno in P6. A very formulative start here, Dan, as we see a diving move from Michael Romanidis.
Yeah, he tried to go around the outside of Lucas Blakely. Didn't quite work out there, but that was what I was talking about when Jano had to get the start that he needed. And he has done that, and now he's going to try and pull the gap to Nicholas Longay in behind him. He will be pushing like a madman when he still can on this set of the soft compound tires. You can already see he's pulled out of the DRS range that Longay needs. He's already pulled a second, so he is rapid so far on this first lap. They're about to come onto the back straight, and if they get good exits here, well, it could be make or break, as Louis Welch and Donoso, I think, are fighting it out. Donoso's trying to look around the outside line. I don't know if he's going to find any gap there, and Dylan Warren as well, trying to get involved in the mixture. Here comes Donoso. They've lost a lot of time to the top 7, as now they're all going to stampede down the straightaway. Donoso picks off Louis Welch, but Dylan Warren now also in towards the braking zone. Possibly you can see John Evans in the Ferrari as well. Jake Benham involved as they all go into the braking zone too. But I do Noah's Ark style off the exit. I think Dylan Warren is just about pit Louis Welch there. Jake Benham's come out ahead of John Evans, and it has been a brilliant affair as Louis Welch into the pit lane. He's got some damage, I imagine.
Yeah, he certainly has. I said it again, that hairpin is certainly very treacherous. Simon Shooter immediately trying to scrap out with Wilson Hughes now. The McLaren down the inside of turn 1 now as they ride their way through the initial laps here. Lap 2 of 28, and Wilson Hughes hanging on. But what's Simon Shooter going to do? Diving into turn 3 as they come out of that bend now, down through towards turn 4 very shortly. Still Simon Shooter on top here, with Wilson Hughes going toe-to-toe with him on the inside as they now creep down towards turn 6. Another hairpin backwards. Who's it going to be? Wilson Hughes still scrapping, but look at John Evans now. John Evans, as well as Ben Chavo coming through now as well. Round the outside of Simon Shooter. Brilliant manoeuvre from the Ferrari. Ben Chavo up in a P3, and in comes Ruben Vallejo.
Java Kanye out in Q1, and now he's all the way up into 13th position, challenging the likes of Wilson Hughes and John Evans. And I think Java Kanye could try and go for a move in an unorthodox position. He had a look halfwards to the inside line, but it was not enough to pull a gap to Wilson Hughes. He's looking rapid on that set of the medium tyres in comparison to Hughes's hards at this point, and we'll see if he can get a good exit here. He needs to clear his rivals early on in this race, and further up the grid as well. Dylan Warren making a move on Donoso. They're going to go side by side down the straightaway. It's all kicking off here, George. I'm getting all my names mixed up as Dylan Warren sneaks up the inside line of Donoso. Good move there from the young Englishman, but there goes Donoso back up the inside line. He makes a switchback. Warren backs out, and Donoso's into the pits.
Certainly is. Maybe a little bit of damage on the car already. Looking for the down. The battles are still raging on as Jano Atmer sets the fastest lap. Wheel to wheel again. Simon Shooter in with a scrap, but he's also got Prejnader, his teammate, locked in behind as well on the outside of Poitou Stachilek. Where we a switch back there. Brilliant from Philip Prejnader, utilising our experience of F1 Esports Ferrari last season, Alfa Romeo Sauber this season, but now Stachilek trying to hold on. Patrick Saipos has a look as well. Oh, blimey, off the track there, Patrick Saipos. Not good at all, but he rejoins the field. Very close in between the two as Ben Chavo moves ahead of Wilson Hughes.
He's made that move stick there very nice, and we had more drivers in the pit lane, Donoso and Benham. Unfortunately, if you're a Jake Benham fan here, he had to get a wing change, and now he's right in plumb last. He's going to need a miracle if he wants to keep his championship hopes alive tonight, as they still will battle further up the order. I think Prejnader and Tomlin, who was slow at the very start, he's dropped way down the order, did the fin. He's now making opposition, picked off Philip Prejnader there. Now he's going to be looking to Piotr Stachilek just up the road on him.
Yeah, well, all the battles currently down the bottom end, and that's no surprise because obviously a lot of them are on varying strategies, different tyre sets. We saw some hard tyres at the start of the race as well, in behind as well. We have got plenty of medium runners too, but lots of them up at the top end also trying to get in positions for scrapping it out. But already we've seen some pit stops. Dylan Warren 3 seconds back now from Cedric Tomate, and a little bit of work to do. Lucas Blakely sets the fastest lap of the race, so 134.71. Dylan Warren Moreno taking it off his hands, a 134.610. Not bad at all. And that is absolutely brilliant to see all these drivers going hell for leather, certainly here around China. Simon Shooter now, he himself trying to find a way on Ruben Vallejo. Incidentally, Shooter, the only one who's actually got time penalties to his name, 3 seconds adopted to the Alfa Romeo. Incredible stuff indeed, and that's exactly what we want to see. And coming through towards the next right-hander now, down towards turn 6. They're all in tandem, not a lot separates them. Plenty of battles ahead, Danfield. Lots to look forward to.
Absolutely, I think they're just getting into a rhythm at the moment at the very front of the order. Not too much volatility at the moment, but they're all scrapping further back behind. Ruben Vallejo, of course, following in the wheel tracks of Wilson Hughes. We didn't see much of the Spanish driver, of course, who was promoted from F2 at the early stages of this season. We didn't see much from him in qualifying, knocked out in Q1, but now he really can shine in the race, and I think that is what he's going to be trying to do here. He's following behind the McLaren car off the exit of the corner. Of course, Wilson Hughes going to be having DRS as well on Jabaconye and John Evans. And speaking of Jabaconye, I think he's got the run.
Here comes Danny Moreno. Here comes Danny Moreno down the outside of Michael Romanini. Sorry to interject there, Dan, but there was a move being made down into the final hairpin, and the machine, Danny Moreno, moves his way up into P5. Benjamin Conye going back to what you were saying, up into P9 ahead of John Evans. The Ferrari contingent, should I say, all in tandem as Danny Moreno sets the fastest lap of the race at 134.424 on medium tyres. The action is starting to peak up yet again, and immediately now we're seeing another move potentially as we're seeing a weaving Red Bull. That would be in Ruben Vallejo in behind Wilson Hughes.
You can see how they're all scrapping out here for the lower end of the points paying positions. I think we do see some fights further up the order, but they're all again just following in line with each other, just trying to keep these tyres as long as they can, try and possibly close the gap to Jano Atmer as Donoso. He's 2-stopping in this race, I would imagine. He has just set the fastest lap, so they're all trading that out as well. So it's getting very hotly contested in PSGL in China. On lap number 5 is Vallejo trying to look for a move in towards the S's on Wilson Hughes. You can see he just had a half look possibly up the inside line into the first part of that left-hander. He did back out. I'd say that is the very wise thing to do. Because who would want to go side by side through there? I think you'd have a death wish if you'd wanted to do so. But with Vallejo, he's looking very quick on the back of the Scotsman.
Yeah, he certainly is. He's actually creeping and peeping, and the reason being, if you remember Wilson Hughes starting on hard tyres, you've got Ruben Vallejo on the medium tyres. So Vallejo's really got to bust a move now, make it happen potentially on this straight. He will have slipstream in behind that McLaren. Obviously, at this moment in time, they're all having DRS, so it's absolutely no benefit at this stage. But there you can see Simon Shooter utilising some pace. There's going to be a late move from Vallejo. Not this time. He's got to stay in behind, be a little patient as they head around turn 14. Coming up now towards 15, later on 16, and still very much all in tandem. Lap 6 of 28, and very soon it'll be lap 7 of 28 as Dylan Warren immediately now up into P7. We're seeing a few cars, I believe, enter the pit lane now, Dan.
Yeah, we just got Cedric Tomate and Joni Tomala boxing. Of course, Joni Tomala way down the order, but Cedric Tomate, he was fighting right in the thick of things at the very sharp end of the grid. And he's going to try the undercut on his rivals in front of him, going on to that set of the medium tyres. He might be 2-stopping in this race. I'm not too sure if they will get to the end. They've got 22 laps. If he tries to work that, I don't know if it's possible. So I'd say 2-stop for Cedric Tomate, but Joni Tomlin committing to the 1-stop, going on to the set of the hards, can easily make it to the end of this Grand Prix. We'll see what they file out in comparison to their rivals once they all box. Of course, I'd say we're a couple of laps adrift from seeing the medium runners pulling into the pits, but Jano Atmer, I don't think we're too many laps away from seeing him into the pit lane, George.
No, not at all. I think in a matter of time it will happen. Remember, he's on the soft tyres, folks, so he's going to have to pit earlier than those behind him. Plenty of drivers on the medium tyre strategy to start this race. That is the optimal strategy as suggested by the drivers. Obviously, we saw it in F2, like we said previously yesterday as well. Ruben Vallejo, crucially, not able to make a move on Wilson Hughes yet, and that could be upsetting to Vallejo's strategy. He has made some moves in the initial part of this race, but he has got to try and make a play on those on the hard tyres, and that includes Wilson Hughes, who's done an absolute brilliant job of marshalling the Red Bull in behind him. Also trying to close up on the gap is Benjamin Conye, who's leading his teammate John Evans. Dylan Warren is ahead of them as Nicholas Longue immediately moves up into P2 ahead of Lucas Blakely, with Sebastian Joby behind as well. And it's starting to get very touchy-feely here in lap 7. The AlphaTauri deep diving into P3. Can he make it last? Sebastian Job, Porsche Carrera Cup champion, making his way up into Lucas Blakely in the Aston Martin. Down into turn 6 they go now. The Aston Martin trying to hunt all over, haunting the AlphaTauri as they make their way now. And at turn 6, through towards turn 7, Blakely bomber, he's on top. Sensational stuff indeed from the Aston Martin. Superb move downfield.
Hard racing between the both of them right through that first sector. They were making contact at every braking zone that they could find, but they somehow managed to escape without any damage. And it was actually Job going for the lead for P2 at turn 14. Then Longay trying to take him back. It was a brilliant affair of blows between all those drivers, and that's backed them up in towards Danny Moreno and Michael Romanidis as well, so they could try and get a nose in here. As now off the exit of turn number 13, I think Blakely could be trying for a move on Longay. Here he goes down the straightaway. He's going to make that move stick. I don't think Longay's got much of a fight up with him, but he is still running wheel to wheel, side by side into the braking zone. Blakely with the inside line. Longay could try and make a switchback move, but it's actually Sebastian Job trying to find the gap on Longay. He can't make that one stick there as coming through turn number 14 and 15 as well. Look at how much they've caught Jano Atmer trying to make these softs last long, but he's losing so much time to them, George.
Yeah, I get the feeling he's trying to mimic the strategy from those in behind. It's going to be a huge job for Jano Atmer to do that. He might have put himself in a very difficult position. Lucas Blakely looking far more comfortable than the Dutchman is right now. Now we'll have to see what happens. I'm surprised he hasn't boxed already. In behind, you can see there Lucas Blakely right in behind the Dutchman now as they make their way towards turn 6. And I'm sure that Blakely smells something here, an opportunity potentially for a race win. But you know, that could be on the cards. We'll have to wait and see. Jano Atmer is still in front, 0.3 of a second behind Lucas Blakely. Nicholas Longay, who's down 3 places off the P1 spot. Sebastian Job as well, right in the fight with Danny Moreno in behind as well. This is the type of racing we like to see, folks. So welcome, if you haven't been here before, to PSGL. Absolutely amazing stuff. Jano Atmer now down towards turn 11. I have a feeling he could be in jeopardy. They ran through towards the next right. There you can see the Aston Martin glued to the rear of that rear diffuser of Jano Atmer now as they make their way down the stretch now. DRS will open up here for Lucas Blakely. He might not need it as they make their way down now. Lucas has lethal intentions. Here comes Lucas Blakely down the stretch now past Jano Atmer. Moves up to the lead of the race here in lap 8 of 28. Jano has got to box downfield.
Surely, I'd imagine that what he was actually trying to do, trying to back up the pack and maybe try and cause some action between a lot of them. As no, he stays out once again, Jano Atmer. I'm not too sure what he is actually planning at the moment as he stays out another lap on that same set of soft tyres that he's been on since the very beginning. Surely they are going to be on the very edge. They're crying at him, please come into the pit lane, Jano. That's what they're saying to him, and certainly the live chat as well. They are going mental for Jano Atmer to come into the pit lane. And the next victim that he will be of is Nicholas Longay, because coming in towards the hairpin corner, he's actually pulling away ever so slightly on Longay, so fair enough to him, but surely this can't be the right strategy call from him.
Yeah, but Blakely, he's going to be loving this because Atmer's going to be holding up the packing behind. If Blakely gets a move on, breaks a second, he will be out of DRS of those behind. That's going to put Nicholas Longay in a very treacherous spot here. We'll have to wait and see how this unfolds. Jano must have a plan up his sleeve somewhere. Danny Moreno in P5 as well. And remember, all Jano has to do tonight is finish ahead of Benham and Moreno in order to clinch the title. That's all he needs to do. So obviously, Moreno needs to try and get past the Dutchman. He needs to see that happen in order to take the race or take the championship all the way to Portimao. The way it's stacked right now, Mercedes will win the constructors, but obviously that's not the whole story here tonight as they're now making their way down the stretch. There you can see Nicholas Longay moves alongside Jano Atmer. The Alpine now goes ahead as well. In behind you can see there's Sebastian Job wasting no time at all to go down the inside of Jano Atmer. Down at turn 14 now, heading out of turn 15. A little bit slick there from the Dutchman's wheels. The Mercedes looking perilous as Atmer now opts to box here in lap 9 of 28.
Yeah, and he cut right across Sebastian Job. That might have put him off, coming off the exit at the final corner, because here comes Danny Moreno in towards turn 1. He backs up, and he just made a little bit of contact onto the back of Sebastian Job, but he did not get any wing damage there. I think a high mouth moment as well for Danny Moreno. So it is all kicking off here as Jano Atmer finally coming to the pit lane. We'll see where he comes out in comparison to Cedric Tomate. Cedric Tomate jumped him, as you would understand, given the pace that he's had on that set of the medium tyres. Cedric Tomate now leads ahead of Jano Atmer. Both of those drivers starting on the set of the mediums. We've got yellow flags in sector 1. That Philip Presnader spun at turn number 3.
Certainly is, and that's allowed Cedric Tomate up into P14, and Atmer is not far behind either. He's still chasing Cedric, who's just jumped him in that pit stop phase. But remember, all those in the higher places have yet to box themselves, so Atmer has crucially come out in front of those behind at least, so that's something that's going to aid him in this race. But let's see what happens as we make our way through lap 10 of 28. We can still see the battles all very much in true contention right now. Sebastian Job trying to hold off the relentless force of the machine. Danny Moreno, they're heading down the long stretch now, and Nicholas Longue is crucially, Dan, outside of the second delta of that of Lucas Blakely. He had no DRS down that straight.
Yeah, and that allowed for Sebastian Job and Danny Moreno and Romanidis as well to close up to the back of him. But no moves were made at the very top of the order as Chabaconnier and John Evans fighting it out. Vallejo diving up the inside of Wilson Hughes. Wilson Hughes now trying to get him on the exit at the corner. Vallejo makes that move stick. What about Chabaconnier and John Evans? And it's John Evans losing out to his teammate tonight, both in 7th and 8th. Good point for them if they can score it, as Ruben Vallejo trying to keep some temperature in his tyres, weaving down the straightaway. Wilson Hughes doesn't have an answer. Of course, in this DRS train, they can't really make too many overtakes, but it is still kicking off. Lap number 11 rolls along here, George.
It certainly does. We're seeing images of what looks to be a similar exchange that we saw between Charles Leclerc and Sebastian Vettel back in the day, when of course they duelled it out for certainly the authority spot at Ferrari, and of course we all know how that turned out. But we're now watching Ben Charbonnier and John Evans fight it out here in the Scuderia as they round the next left-hander now, and very shortly when they head around turn 7, it'll be turn 8 next. We lost Philip Presnader to the last DNF, and how crucial is that? Could that be a safety car here?
That's in the pit lane there. I think he's called it quits in that Alfa Romeo. And that's going to be your first retirement of the day. No safety car coming out either, so that won't bunch up the field. But it still keeps the action nice and hot here in PSGL as Danny Moreno using up some of his ERS. He could be trying for a move on Sebastian Job if he can get the run. But I just don't know. It just seems too far back in this DRS train. What about jobbing towards Longate? No, Longate also didn't have the DRS down that straight as well. So struggling in that Alpine as John Evans and Chabaconnier fighting it out once again down the DRS straightaway. These are just going to be trading position, I would imagine, throughout the rest of this Grand Prix. Of course, until Chabaconnier has to pit. Of course, on medium tyres, he's got to pit at some point. And I'd say in the next 2, 3, 4 laps, we'll start seeing the medium runners coming into the box.
Yeah, huge opportunity now for Ben Charbonnier. Now he's making his way up into turn 1. Can he get past his teammate John Evans, who does seem to be holding him up a little bit? That is hard tyres against mediums, folks. Naturally, they have yet to pit. And Tomate and Atmer. Oh, Tomate's round. Tomate is round out of turn 16. And Atmer has managed to garner another spot in that circumstance with Cedric Tomate spinning. And Atmer now up into P14. A crucial visit there from the Dutchman. And now he needs to really get moving. 9.5 seconds back from Patrick Saipos. Let's wait and see. I tell you what, I don't think Atmer is out of this.
Yeah, Cedric Tomate with that spin has now handed the position to Jano Atmer. He's got clear air in front of him, closing to the back of Patrick Saipos. 9 seconds up the road. You can see how much that gap is decreasing at every point, every braking zone and every turn of the wheel. Jano Atmer is closing. I wonder if he can take these mediums to the end. They will be crying at him at the very end of it all. But that being said, they might still have the same pace as the hard tyres that all of the medium runners are looking to put on, unless they go for the softs. I'm not too sure what they're thinking on the strategy we're seeing out of the box. Works being made by these drivers, so who knows what this race could throw at us. As Lucas Blakely leading at the moment. I wonder if he's going to come into the pit lane. He does. He goes straight on in towards the box, and I believe out of all of the leaders, he's the only one to come into the pits there, George.
He certainly is. He's going to box now, and Michael Romanidis also moves up into P4. There you can see the deltas starting to shrink slightly. Dylan Warren now moving ahead up into P5. Now the crucial element is how is that going to mix with certainly Jano Atmer. There's the gap to the leaders, folks. There you can see Atmer now as we now witness the gap. Is it going to come down? Is Atmer going to get past Blakely? He certainly will, I think. It's going to be tight as he makes his way out. He goes ahead of Lucas Blakely. That is crucial because Blakely was leading the race. So given the fact that the circumstances are where they are, when the other drivers come in now, Atmer should hold that net P1 spot.
We discounted Jano from this one a bit too early. We jumped the gun, but he is ahead of his rival, Lucas Blakely. He's managed to get him on the undercut, and his 2-lap-old medium tyres compared to fresh hards, he's going to have the pace over Lucas Blakely, so we can't count out Jano Atmer here. He still has a chance to win this. He can still wrap it up if he just outscores Benham and Moreno. We'll see where they come out in regards to them once they come into the pit lane. They're actually coming through the final sector now, and I wonder if they use it up a ERS, then it is likely that they are pitting here. But I don't know if anyone is using it too heavily at the moment, George. They're just trying to follow in the train, but I'd imagine with Blakely coming into the pits, they're going to be looking to box soon, George.
Yeah, this race has turned into a massive game of chess now as John Evans, who's making his way up the field, goes alongside there of Benjamin Conye, and the two Ferraris come into blows yet again as they round the final hairpin, and instantly you can see there the aggressive turn of foot from Benjamin Conye as he tries to fight back on Johnny Evans, but it's not enough. And Michael Romanidis, 5 seconds for speeding in the pit lane as he makes his way into the pits. Not good at all. Crucially though, Longue staying out for yet another lap. He's going to hope to utilise the strength of those tyres to potentially keep him in front at the end of the race. That is what he needs, as Jano Atmer sets the fastest lap of the race, a 1:34.010, and that shows the true determination of the Flying Dutchman.
Yeah, he and Lucas Blakely clear ahead as all. Nicholas Longue losing positions. I think he made a mistake through the hairpin there, as Sebastian Job and Danny Moreno both been able to clear him. I wonder if now they are planning to make their pit stop soon, because Danny Moreno really tight to the back of Sebastian Job, glued to that AlphaTauri car's rear diffuser, and we'll see what he can do. He's got 98% of the battery compared to Job's 33, so Danny Moreno in a great position to potentially try and go for a move, and if he's coming into the pit lane, well then that would be absolutely perfect to be ahead of his rivals right at that point, as off the exit of turn number 30, using up his ERS down the straightaway, draining the battery. He's got 80% left, as now here he comes, Danny Moreno for the lead of the race. There it is, on Sebastian Job, who loses the position to the Mercedes car in the championship hunt as well, might I add. He's surely using all that ERS. He might be thinking of pitting here, George.
He might well do. I was just thinking exactly the same thing, Danfield, and I think, no, he's going to carry on. He's going to take him around for yet another lap. So he's in charge right now. We've got Lucas Blakely looking to make a move on Jano Atmer now. This is for the net lead of the race, and how crucial is that? Hard tyres on Lucas Blakely's car, overtaking the mediums of Jano Atmer. Scintillating stuff from Lucas Blakely. Manages to get the move, going through the hairpin bend. Atmer needs to think fast now. This is a very crucial set of circumstances for the Dutchman.
Absolutely, and he can't clear Blakely, and now he'll be, according to his pace, it might not be the best of situations. I'd imagine he'd probably want to lead Blakely, but he also might want to be behind to take DRS as well and save some of his battery. So I'd say it's all about the mind games at the moment, as they are 3 seconds clear of the nearest rivals of Romanidis and Longue. Of course, we're waiting for the likes of Moreno and Job, who I might also be tipping for potentially trying to go onto the set of the soft tyres. I don't see a reason to stay past the halfway point on the mediums when you get more of that on the hards. You should do a longer stint on the hard competent tyres than the mediums, but what do I know, of course, as the commentator. These drivers, they work intricately on their strategies, and they try and perfect it. We could be seeing a brilliant race strategically, George.
Yeah, we could well do. We'll have to wait and see. Atmer could merely be trying to save his tyres right to the end, but then again, I mean, what about Blakely? He seems to be letting him go a little bit here. The gap is springing out to 7.5 tenths of a second. That's a little concerning. Certainly, if you're an Jano Atmer fan right now, we'll have to wait and see. But Ruben Vallejo now, alongside Benjamin Conye, in the Spaniard, goes ahead there of the Ferrari of Benjamin Conye. Well done, Ruben Vallejo getting ahead there. And he moves his way up into P4. Still a little bit of work to do, but nevertheless, he's done exceptionally well. Jano Atmer now himself, trying to make his way closer to the rear end of that Aston Martin. Has brought the Delta in slightly, but not enough for an overtake as they round the final corner. Is the Dutchman just waiting in behind here at the moment, Dan?
I don't know if he wants to go for the win of this race. I think he might be doing all he can to seal the championship tonight, so we can go into Portimao with a fresh mindset and go hammer and tongue with his rivals without the worry of the championship. We're watching a great battle as well for P4 between Vallejo and Zabaconye as well. Vallejo sells him the dummy, goes up the inside but goes so deep into the apex and now sliding off the exit. Those medium tires not looking in great condition. That's going to invite Patrick Cyples as well potentially into the fight there, but brilliant stuff from all the medium runners, yet to pit of course. And at this point they're coming up to 12 laps to go in this race. I'm trying to think, if they go one more lap, potentially I'd say the softs, they could be going to the end. Of course, they won't be putting as much load into the tyres on lighter fuel, so it could be doable, George.
It could well be. We'll have to wait and see. Jano Atmer right in behind now of that man Cedric Tomate, and he's trying to grow a little bit further into this race. He's on hard tyres as well. Tomate, you had a little bit of an instant earlier on, if you remember, Atmer passing him after that spin, as we're now watching them make their way through the rising section through turn 11 and now turn 12 as they sweep around this very deep right-hander out of turn 13. Now you can see just in front there Cedric Tomate of Jano Atmer, and Tomlin will not think twice about making a move here. He's right in the slipstream. DRS opens up. Overtake on surely as he makes his way down the straight. Will he open up the door? Heading into the final chicane as the final hairpin bend as they do so. Brilliant indeed. And no move could be made. And Donoso is backing them all up here, Danfield.
I've just seen Michael Romanidis getting a touch from Nicholas Longuet, and he's been spun around. I think Longuet might have just misjudged when Romanidis wanted to brake the car, and well, he's just gone into the back of him, spun the Williams around, and I think Romanidis going to be fuming at that one. He's lost a hell of a lot of time in comparison to his rivals. He's now behind Donoso as well and out of a points paying position. Now going to be at the mercy of the likes of John Evans and Jano Atmer, who's actually fighting with John Evans. I think John Evans has actually gone for that move on the AlphaTauri driver. He's made that one sick, and now he's up into P12.
Yeah, great move there by John Evans in the Scuderia Ferrari. He's managed to pull himself ahead there of Jano Atmer. What a scalp that is as they round the next left-hander. And I've got to say, for the youngster who's proven to be a real hot shot in this league, has beaten many. He fought Rasmussen right to the bitter end at Britain and has held off Jano Atmer as well in the past. John Evans, winning at WOR last week or earlier this week, is now managing and fighting ahead of Jano Atmer. Brilliant stuff from John Evans in the Scuderia Ferrari, and he's right in the rear now of Michael Romanidis as they make their way through. Now rounding turn 13 yet again, and you can see the nose to wheel, nothing separates them. The gap in the bottom 10 thinner than a fly's eyelash. Here comes John Evans yet again in the Scuderia Ferrari colours. The winner's race wins on many an occasion. John Evans round the outside now of Michael Romanidis. Might go for a second one here. It's stuck in behind Donoso. Tries to get the exit speed. Johnny Evans wheel to wheel now with Michael Romanidis round the final corner. Johnny Evans, brilliant move indeed. The Ferrari up into P11, one spot away from the top 10, and he might get it here, Dan.
Oh, as they're fighting with Donoso. John Evans, what a show he's putting on here as he goes up the inside, but Donoso trying to get him on the switchback move. That's going side by side. Tomlin out of this race is John Evans. Take a bow, he's in P9 now, ahead of Alpine Esports driver Fabrizio Donoso and last week's race winner, who's now at the mercy of Michael Romanidis into the hairpin. Not quite going to go for a move, but sensational stuff from all of these drivers. None of them made any contact, no damage coming off with any of the drivers. Brilliant scenes at the lower end of the top 10.
Yeah, he's really coming into his own now, John Evans. Brilliant stuff indeed, and just what you want to see from some of the young upstarts in PSGL. They've been absolutely scintillating, and Evans, after, like I said before, a race win earlier in the week, he's capitalising yet again, overtaking the likes of, Fabrizio Donoso, Michael Romanidis, all of them. Ben Jabo he was fighting with earlier on as well. Sensational driving as Patrick Cypos as well. Down the inside now of Ruben Vallejo, who've been sparring now relentlessly now. Alpine F1 Esports driver Cypos, brilliant up into P4 and gets himself ahead of Ruben Vallejo in exquisite fashion, but now he will box. Nevertheless, I think there might be a little bit of damage, or is he taking those hards deep into the race?
He's not pitted yet on that set of the hards. He's one of the last hard runners to actually come into the pit lane, and surely he'd be going on to a set of the softs. And I'm just making sure. I hope that the leaders know that they do have to make a pit stop, because those medium tyres, 18 laps on that set, clinical at the end. They're on their deathbeds and I'd imagine the treading is going to be completely shredded by the end of this lap. They're going to be in the 80s, maybe in the 70s, 80% range, I would imagine. So they are probably well within puncture territory, but they're taking the risk, and that is what we love to see. They do have a couple seconds clear, Job and Moreno, from Dylan Warren. Is about 5 seconds back, but I'd imagine they've got to pull the trigger and come into the pit lane, surely, because those tyres are going to be crying at them, and that's just giving more of an advantage to the likes of Blakely and Atmer, who have made the undercut, and they pitted before. Of course, they're going to have fresher tyres later on in the race, will the likes of Moreno, Job and Warren to fight them, but it might not be enough. Of course, running out of laps at this point. We're coming up to, what, 9 to go at the end of this one, because I'll be on to lap number 20. Is Danny Moreno. Surely he's got to make a pit stop. He's got to come into the pits here. Is he going to go straight on? He stays out. Job comes in. Moreno really risking it today, George.
He is. He's taking it all the way. Those medium tyres are going to be absolutely screaming. But this is incredible, because if Danny Moreno pulls this off, he could be having soft tyres to send him to the end of this race, which will make him uber quick, because we're now seeing a fight here. Wilson Hughes getting now ahead of Fabrizio Donoso, who looks for the switchback. No move can be made, but Wilson Hughes up into P9 in exquisite fashion as well. Simon Shooter coming into this fight too, alongside Poitou Stachulek as well. In behind, you can see there as well Ben Chabo Cognier in behind on Micro Benitez, as Ben Chabo now makes his way round with the fastest lap of 1:33.086. Scintillating stuff. Crucially though, Danny Moreno 11.5 seconds clear of Ruben Vallejo, but if you have a look at the net leader, that's Lucas Blakely. Now remember, now 12 seconds, 12.5 seconds, 13 nearly, the gap between them, exquisite. Danny Moreno could be the unsung hero. Your pick might be in line for a race win here.
It is not all said and done, but I am watching Sebastian Job. He looks so much more in control of the car than he was on that set of the mediums, and he's closing the gap to Longuet every corner. It's like what we saw when Jano pitted onto the mediums and he was catching Saipos. It is pretty much the exact same as this. So Danny Moreno, he'll be even quicker, surely, on the set of these stops. You know, he's shown his pace throughout the season, and he will be hunting the likes of Longuet and Atmer. All Danny needs is to outscore Jano Atmer. Finally, the Mercedes comes into the pit lane. He just needs to outscore his teammate to take the championship fight to the final race. It'll be a tall order, 17 points back from his rival, but he can do it. Danny Moreno into the pit lane now for a set us off for the final 8 laps of this Grand Prix. And if you weren't already excited for it, well, get ready, because here it comes.
Here we go, folks. It's going to be the final 7 laps of magic. Lucas Blakely now taking the ultimate lead of this race as well. Jano Atmer in P2. Nicholas Longuet, Sebastian Job up into P4. Where does Danny Moreno come out? He's out in P5 and on soft tyres. Very clever work from the machine. Danny Moreno, he's going to be chopping through this field at this late stage of the race. 7 laps to creep and peep his way up this field. He has only got an almighty, incredible 8 seconds off that P1 spot that is being held by Lucas Blakely. I got a sense, I've got a feeling here, Dan. Danny Moreno might have pulled off a masterclass here.
Gotta take the risks in moments like this, and Danny Moreno, he's going all or nothing, and I think he might have just struck gold, because they are closing like a missile to Longuet, is Job and Moreno, and surely Job is just going to pull Moreno on through, because he's actually closed the gap to get DRS on the AlphaTauri car, even going to give him more straight line speed. So it's going to be brilliant stuff from these two. They're going to be hunting Longuet, Atmer and Blakely like they're just prey to them, you know, as I don't know if that's just happened on your screen. Danny Moreno, for me, is just stopped on circuit.
Yeah, something's happened here, folks. I'm not quite sure what's happened, but Danny Moreno... Now, is that an issue? Oh, no. Oh, that's not good. That is not good news at all. Now, if that is the case, Danny Moreno is now literally falling down the field, folks. Danny is, in effect, I would supposedly say, out of the race. I can't explain it. I literally can't explain it. Jano Atmer as well has boxed for softs. Jano Atmer has boxed for soft tyres. Incredible stuff. Safety car as well, Danfield.
Safety car out here. Danny Moreno, I've just tuned into his stream, shaking his head. That's good. That is a game glitch, which is, I would say, with the now the race pretty much almost over here, he can still fight with Jano. They're actually 7th and 8th at the moment. But it's completely thrown everything out of the window. Yeah, Danny's shaking his head on his stream. And this is another glitch which could potentially have just ruined what was looking to be one of the best championship finales of league racing history.
He's back though. Danny's back. He's still there, but for some reason he is now behind Atmer. Well, he was behind Atmer to begin with. Moreno back out on track, but Atmer has done him in the pit lane. Jano has done him in the pit lane. He is boxed in now for a fresh set of soft tyres. Atmer is going to be quick at the end of this race now. He has literally been handed the race on a silver platter. Mercedes could pull off a masterclass here now. This works in the favour of both Atmer and Moreno. Potential 1-2 on the cards, Dan. I get the feeling this could happen.
It's not over, and you know what? This could be also a gift. We just do not know. The two Mercedes car interlocked like two bucks fighting in the woods. They are going to be locking horns and bashing with each other, going for these moves. I'm praying that we don't see anything like last week, but Danny Moreno, with that game glitch, completely just surely it was just completely stopped him on circuit. I don't know if it was a wheel failure or the game just not working, but Danny Moreno, he's got to be seeking avengers. I can already tell he's gonna have fire in his eyes looking at the back of Jano Atmer's car.
No, this is extraordinary, but I have to say, it's an incredible story at the same time. We're just watching them make their way around, and already the car's bunching up. Do you know what? And I'm going to go back to this now. Terrible luck for Lucas Blakely. Absolutely terrible luck for him, because now he's stuck on hard tyres that are now going to be very tricky to try and hold back the field on, because everyone else is going to be resting on their tyres. Obviously, a lot of drivers now on soft tyres. Look at him behind as well. How about Sebastian Job? He's only been out for 2 laps on fresh softs. Sebastian Job could be in line for his very first PSGL race win as well. Extraordinary. Dylan Warren, how about this for a fact? Dylan Warren, the unsung hero, has just popped into Tier 1 for the day. P5 on fresh soft tyres. Ruben Vallejo, what a rise. He's on fresh softs. Jano Atmer, Danny Moreno, everyone on fresh soft tyres. We could be witnessing a masterclass here for this race. They're all going to be conserving the soft tyres under the safety car when they go pedal to the metal for the second time in this race. This is going to be extraordinary. We're going to be witnessing a hellacious finale to this Chinese Grand Prix.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You can't count out some of the drivers behind as well. Nicolas Longuet, of course, taking pole in this race over 1 lap. And on the set, the soft compound tyres completely fresh, by the way, as well. He could be a factor in this Grand Prix. It's not over here, George. It really is not. And mandatory 2 laps have been completed. The grid is bunched up. Now it is Lucas Blakely's discretion as to where and when they start. The safety car is going to be pulling off into the pit lane here. We've got, 5 final laps of glory, George.
We certainly do. Lap 23 of 28, so we're witnessing yet more drama, and this always seems to happen at the end of a PSGL championship. We're coming towards the end of the final 2 races, folks. We've got 1 race left after this week, but tonight could be the night that Atmer is crowned champion, unless Moreno goes ahead of him. If Moreno beats Atmer here tonight, potentially it could all go down to Portimao, but brace yourself, folks. We'll have to wait and see. The second last race of the season, as we now witness Lucas Blakely, who's got a real stiff task ahead of him. He's got Sebastian Job in behind him here on fresher soft tyres, as the safety car now beckons its way into the pit lane. The Aston Martin familiar red safety car making its way into the box. In comes now final corner, as now they hit the power now, as Lucas Blakely signals pedal to the metal for the second time in this Grand Prix. Going to the stand side, they're switching to the other. Lucas Blakely still leads out in front on 10 lap old hard tyres. Sebastian Job behind as well. Jano Atmer needs to get moving as well in the early goings on, but no changes in the top 10 right now, Dan. All very orderly. It's all going to be a straight fist fight towards the end of this race.
Yeah, you can see Jano Atmer off the exit of turn number 3. He's looking onto the back of Ruben Vallejo, possibly to the outside line of the hairpin. He goes deep on the brakes. Has he made this move? Stick around the outside line. I think he has. Jano Atmer into P6, and that puts a car in between himself and Danny Moreno. And now Moreno's got a mountain to climb if he wants to take this back the way of Jano Atmer in this championship hunt. Of course, he just has to outscore his teammate. It might not be over, because Atmer looking onto the back of Dylan Warren, George, possibly down the straightaway. He could be going for it.
Yeah, he could well be. I gotta say, looking very twitchy is Danny Moreno down the inside. They're heading up between turn 11, and in comes now Nicholas Longay. 3 wide now as they run. Oh, Vallejo's gone. Vallejo's gone. Collisions there with Moreno. They make their way down the straight. Jano Atmer now himself trying to charge on the back of Dylan Warren. In behind as well. Nicholas Longay right to the rear view mirror here as they make their way down now towards the hairpin bend. Nicholas Longay round the outside of the machine. Danny Moreno. They bang wheels. They touch. They're touching still contact as they come around turn 16. It's Nicholas Longay on top ahead of Danny Moreno.
Don't count him out here because Danny Moreno trying to swing back at him, as is Jano Atmer on Dylan Warren up the inside into turn number 1. Dylan Warren tucking him on the switch, backing up the inside at turn number 2. Wheel to wheel between the pair of them in towards a switching left-hander on turn number 3. Side by side off the exit. Can Dylan Warren get the run? Not quite. Jano Atmer into P5. He has come alight on the set. The soft compound tyres as Danny Moreno now 2 cars in between him and the drivers. Dylan Warren spun.
He has spun. A yellow flag raised in sector 2. Jano Atmer feeling it now in P5. He's starting to gain slowly but surely. 3 laps of magic still remain for the Dutchman. Incredible stuff here at PSGL. Still Lucas Blakely though. Incredible defending, holding back the relentless Sebastian Job, of course, and in fact has created a gap there on the AlphaTauri. In behind now, Jano Atmer going for the move now on John Evans as they make their way out of turn 11. The Ferrari on medium tyres, stiff battling between the pair. Jano Atmer is down the bend now out of turn 13. Exquisite from the Dutchman.
Nicholas Longay as well trying to make the move on John Evans, wheel to wheel down the straightaway. Just got the drive. They wouldn't have DRS this time by, but now John Evans coming back at him into the braking zone. Longay on the inside line of the Ferrari car on the fresh set of these soft tyres. He's made that move stick up the inside line, and Danny Moreno as well trying to pounce on the opportunity to get past the Ferrari car. It's not quite enough, but possibly off the exit here as he's using up some of his overtake. He can't go for it as Nicholas Longay. What a move though up the inside of John Evans. Lap 26 rolls on. We've just got a few more laps left in this one, George.
Yeah, next on Atmer's list is going to be Wilson Hughes. 3/10 of a second is the delta gap. Sebastian Job falling backwards. Lucas Blakely might be in with a chance. What a race he's driven. All the setbacks, all the drama, the safety car, the change of tyres. It has not fallen in Blakely's palms, but tonight could be his night. They are literally nearing enough a second, a deficit between P2 and P1. Exceptional for Lucas Blakely, but look at Jano Atmer. Incredible gains here already since the safety car departed. We're now in lap 26 of 28. Wilson Hughes can see the Dutchman in behind, fleeting in the mirrors as they make their way down towards turn 11. It's now or never. You sense that Jano is preparing for something here with only 2 laps of magic left. They round now turn 13. Turn 14 will be the end of the straight. The Dutchman will have DRS. This time on Wilson Hughes, who's just about in a second of Sebastian Job, but it's not going to be enough to save him as they end their way down towards turn 14 now. Here comes Jano Atmer again, down the inside now, into turn 14. Incredible, as well as Sebastian Job trying to close on Lucas Blakely, but Atmer's up into P3.
Danny Moreno's made a move on John Evans as well. It's all getting argy-bargy throughout the grid here as Nicholas Longay onto the back of Wilson Hughes down the straight and using up his overtake. The DRS is open wide in towards turn number 1. Longay up the inside line, still trying to fight this one as Sebastian Job as well trying to fight for the lead of the Grand Prix. All this scrapping is going to bring them back closer towards the likes of Atmer, of Longay as well. So we still could see a 4-car battle for the lead with 2 laps to go.
He certainly could do. Coming out now, turn 6. Exceptional stuff here, folks. Incredible race here for the second last race of the PSGL PC Championship. Jano Atmer staring in front of his visor. The championship title is actually in front of him here. He could potentially win this. Heading around now, Sebastian Job ahead of him in P2. Lucas Blakely, incredible, scintillating performance, leading this race right now. Sebastian Job also exquisite there in P2. Porsche Carrera Cup champion, adopting Formula 1 cars now here in PSGL, driving for AlphaTauri in the F1 Esports Pro Championship. championship. Jano Atmer now, right in the rear, gonna go for blazes here in P2. What a finale this has been as he goes alongside now the AlphaTauri, heading down the straight now. Nothing separates them. Jano's in P2, folks. Jano in P2.
He's now could be looking onto the back of Lucas Blakely, whose tyres are not looking in good condition. 3 tenths is the gap between Jano Atmer and Lucas Blakely. It's now they round the final corner for the penultimate time. The final lap now begins. Jano Atmer closing onto the back of Lucas Blakely into turn number 1. Not close enough to make a gap stick, but he is closing. He is trying to go for this move, and the difference in tyres is going to be detrimental for Blakely. He's held on all he can. He's fended off pressure from the likes of but it could all come to an end as Jano Atmer closing up to the back of him.
He could well do. This would be one of the more dramatic finishes to a PSGL race we have ever seen. One final lap, and look who's behind the Dutchman, a familiar foe from previous seasons. It's Nicolas Longuet, folks. Incredible. We're watching something that we would never have expected at the start of a Grand Prix. Lap 28 of 28, a final safety car that allowed Atmer to make a change and go onto a soft set of tyres. Lucas Blakely has got to defend for his life here. He knows the Dutchman is in behind. They're making their way down through towards turn 11, rising up through the bend. A flick of the rear from Lucas Blakely. They're now sensing it. I'm sensing it. You're sensing it in the live chat. Jano Atmer now for the final time down the long straight in behind Lucas Blakely. It's a battle of the Titans. They make their way down towards the hairpin bend. Can Lucas Blakely defend? Atmer around the outside now and makes it happen. He's up into P1. The Dutchman has done it, but Lucas Blakely on the switchback. I'm losing my voice, but it's all worth it. Jano around the final corner. He has won. He has won the absolutely amazing race. Chinese Grand Prix elect Jano Atmer is your winner of the Chinese Grand Prix.
With that one there, Jano Atmer, he's cleared the gap, and now with one race to go, Jano Atmer, he is a 2-time PSGL World Champion. What a win for him today. He takes celebration in style, and coming off an awful race last week where he made contact with his teammate, he kept his cool today and he celebrates atop the podium. He is your champion of the world.
History has been made yet again. A brilliant drive after a safety car. He did it last season in Australia. He's done it tonight at Shanghai in China. Jano Atmer, the champion of PSGL here this season. Yet again, exquisite stuff. It might as well Lucas Blakely, hard done by, left again, but an exquisite bit of defending, held onto a podium as well in P3. An incredible drive from Nicolas Longuet to fight back from the edge of nowhere. Mercedes are crowned, certainly champions as well, but Jano Atmer is your winner, PSGL champion for a second time. Lucas Blakely in P2, Nicolas Longuet P3, Danny Moreno in 4th, Sebastian Job, what a drive in P5, Wilson Hughes P6, John Evans in the top 10. Amazing. Donoso, last week's winner, P8 this time. Puato Stachulek in P9. Ben Chabo Konyi in P10 with Michael Romanidis in P11. Simon Shooter in P12. Louis Welch again challenged the best of them, but P13 is all he could get. Dylan Warren after that spin, heartbreaking scenes. P14 is where he remains. Cedric Tomate in P15. Ruben Vallejo 16. Jake Benham, it just couldn't happen today. P17 with Patrick Saipos, the last of the finishing cars. P18, we lost Yoni Tormala and Philip Presnader. Wow, 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 wow. Wow. Oh my God. Oh, dearie me. Guys, amazing race. Amazing. I'm taking a drink for that. That is just exquisite. I mean, I didn't think we could top it from last year, but what a race. What a race. That's a classic, an instant classic. Incredible. Incredible, folks at home. Oh, unbelievable. Honest to God, are we ever going to see anything quite like that again? I'm going to stop saying we'll never see anything like that, because I said it last season, right? I was wrong, folks. That was the most intense final lap I have ever commentated in my life. Dan, I don't know about you, but for me, that's exactly what it was.
Yeah, and
wow.
Oh my God. What a race, and what a season it's been. The champion has been crowned, Jano Atmer. He is your PSGL PC F1 World Champion, back to back. And I'm trying to get him in for an interview here. I'm just going to say, join the waiting room. Surely we've got to get this man. There he is. He's in the waiting room. Come on, bring him in. We got to speak to this man.
Oh, where are we? We're going to bring him in now, folks. That's just. I mean, seriously, honest to God, folks. I can't believe it. I cannot believe it, folks. I have got the man in my commentary box now. Jano, long time no speak, right? That was exquisite.
Yeah, it's been a while. Yeah.
It has been a while. What was that all about?
P3.
Why are you doing this to me, man? Why are you doing it to me? You're killing me here.
Your voice still there?
It just about. It's hanging in there by a thread. I think that's probably the best.
Okay.
Go on, talk us through it. Come on, we got to hear all about it. That strategy, where did it come from? Was that a pre-thought discussion? Was that a plan? Obviously, the safety car. It's like Mike Tyson says: everyone's got a plan until they get punched in the face. You got punched in the face with that safety car, but you made it work for you. That was just. It was like Australia last year all over again.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I would have won without the safety car, but I made the right call straight away, so that helped, of course. Yeah, it would have been tight, I think, with Lucas in the end. I was on mediums, of course, so I had slightly more pace probably, but those hards were going a little bit longer. And then, on the soft side, I wasn't sure because there were so many people ahead of me on soft as well, but I just had really good pace. And then, I made it work. And then even in the last lap, I was not sure because the softs drop off very aggressively if I was going to make it. So even in the last lap coming through the long right-hander, Lucas was pretty far ahead. And then... I had the slipstream, I had the DRS, slightly more ERS as well, and that helped me make the move. But yeah, Lucas just made it as hard as possible, obviously. So GG to him. Absolutely phenomenal race. He had mad pace on those hard tires, and also in the beginning on those mediums. So GG to him. And yeah.
I tell you what, Lucas must be crying his eyes out here because he has been so unlucky all season long, and it's just been so gutting. I'm going to bring him in a minute in the commentary box for an interview, but I mean, honestly, there were plenty of challenges there. Sebastian Job was in a prime position to win that race tonight. He was on a similar strategy, 2 lap old softs he had on that final run of that safety car, that final lap that the safety car was out. He had a great opportunity. Blakely, I got to say, a heroic drive out in front. Did you think halfway through the race that the race was lost? Did you think it was out the window at that point?
No, definitely not. I could follow Lucas pretty well. He was really fast on the hard straight away. So, I think I'm confident I would have gotten P2 at least because I felt like soft runners were really far behind and they were not going to make it. But Lucas was the only issue for me really when he came out of the box. I didn't expect him to pit for hards. So he made that work really well until the safety car, and then we had like a 3-second window to decide if we were going to pit or not. And I decided to do it. I felt like it was the best option. And then, there were a lot of people who were already on soft, so I was like, this might not work. It's gonna get really, really hard. In the end, it did work.
It did work. I mean, I was really impressed, I have to say, because when you were out on the mediums for as long as you were, I thought, oh, did he take it too long? But then, of course, I suppose you had to do it. I suppose you didn't have a choice. Good job you did in the end, I have to say. But that is your second PSGL championship. So obviously,
it's his third actually.
It's third. Okay, if we're talking PlayStation, okay.
25.
Yeah, okay. If you want to talk absolutes, okay. This is third championship, incredible. But second on PC, may I add, Dan? He's second on PC. Are we going to go for a 3-time, Jano? Because I got to say, the second season on this game, I think, is going to be a big one, because obviously we're hoping after esports it would have all calmed down now. We're going to have all the drivers back. I'm hearing rumours of some Marcel Kiefer movements as well. Not preempting anything, but I've been hearing a little bird on the grapevine tell me that Marcel Kiefer fancies a go at this esports, this league racing side, should I say, of esports. Are you going to go for that 3-timer?
Yeah, of course. Why not? League racing is now a preparation for F1 esports, of course, to race other people, but in the off season it's a lot of fun for me. I'm gonna keep doing it. Why not?
Great stuff. And thoughts now heading into F1 esports. Obviously, the Mercedes camp looks absolutely primed. League racing has been certainly a good friend to you in the past coming seasons. Confidence heading into the first race, heading up at the Pro Championship. You feeling confident?
Yeah, it's going to be very tough. You can only see where you really stand after the first qualifying in Bahrain. And even then, it's not done after that. And I think there are some very good competitors on the grid. I think Alpine has a very strong team, Red Bull has a very strong team, Ferrari has a very strong team, and McLaren. So I think those guys are all going to be really, really fast and not going to be easy to beat them for sure.
No, absolutely. Well, we're looking forward to seeing it. May I just say once again, massive congratulations on another victory. Again, you killing me, man. My voice is ruined yet again, but an epic drive, an epic championship, epic season. Still got Portimao to go. Mind, are you turning up for that one?
Yeah, I will. I definitely will. Yeah.
Good man. We'll look forward to it. Jano Atmer, PSGL champion, everybody, and race winner tonight. Congratulations.
Thank you, George.
Thank you. Next up, a man who has seen misfortune time and again this season. When are the gods going to shine on him? Lucas Blakely, mate, I'm absolutely devastated for you. Honestly, I am. Honest to God. What a drive towards the end on those hard tyres. I thought Sebastian Joe would have you towards the end, but your drive was heroic at the end on those hard tyres.
I'll keep finding myself spontaneously laughing because I literally don't know how to react. Like, what do I need to do every time, man? Like, genuinely, what in the world do I need to do? So, yeah, I'm a bit in a laughing sort of mode at the moment. But in all seriousness, oh man, yeah, I don't even know what to think and say at the moment. I said to the chat after the safety, because the thing is, I was at the pit entry when the safety car was deployed, but I didn't know what it was because it didn't show me safety car. Like, something else popped up over like safety car or something. So I didn't know until after the last corner whether it was a VSC or whether it was a full-blown safety car. So it was kind of impossible for me without the power of hindsight to know what was coming. So I knew I was on the hard and I was like, come on, every time. And then I said to my chat, I remember saying to the chat, I was like, I mean, if whoever wants this one, they're going to have to work for it because I'm not letting it go easily. And then I had Seb have a good go at me, and I knew I needed to keep the soft runners behind as long as possible because of how quickly they drop off. But the unfortunate part for me was Jano had brand new fresh softs, so they weren't exactly dropping off enough. So yeah, I'm just and I just sort of had that sinking feeling on the last lap, like, oh damn it, here we go again. And it was always going to come down to that last straight. I didn't have enough ERS because I had to use it with Sebi a little bit. I mean, obviously I could maybe improve a 10th here, 10th there, but honestly, it was fingertips on those hards. They were quite icy to drive, and I don't know. I just seen the gap in the last straight, and then I just had a feeling that if Jano gets too far ahead, that's it. And I think I could have dive bombed like crazy up the inside, but I mean, we would have most likely ended up in a complete shunt because he was a full car ahead, so it would have required like a lot of aggression and a high chance of collision. And we also had Nico behind, who would probably have picked it up because he was really close as well behind. So I was, yeah, I'm just, I mean, I don't know what to, I'm just, yeah.
surely you must take solace in a sense, though, Lucas. I mean, looking at that race today, it was near enough perfect. I mean, had that safety car not come out, that race was in your hands potentially. It was looking pretty strong. I mean, you must take some solace knowing that fact. And I think that extremely epic defensive you pulled off to keep Sebastian Joe behind you, I think deserves a lot of credit as well. I mean, you know, hard tyres are nothing to be toyed with. I mean, I know that soft tyres deteriorate around China quite horrendously, but nevertheless, you still had to keep him behind you for that period of time.
Yeah, I mean, it got really close into the hairpin in one of the laps. We were like tracing each other on the brakes, so it was really, it was close, and we got really close a few times, me and Sebi. So, you know, thankfully, I didn't lose a position there. Otherwise, life would have become a lot harder. I'm just gutted. Can one person just hold Jano up for just one more lap, please? Just one more. That's all I needed, man. Like, I don't know. My brain's just all over the place. Like, when I seen the safety car come out, I was like, you are kidding me, right? The one time I feel, well, not the one time. I mean, I probably like the 5,000th time I feel like I'm in a contention, and then it just comes out just as I pass the pit entry. You can't write it, but I'm really, I mean, as you say, I do take some like sort of satisfaction from it, because I know, let's just say I know what limitations there were for me in that race and in that qualifying, and to have performed like that, I am only very, very positively buoyed by it. So, yeah, I do take quite a lot of happiness from it. But we just need to, yeah, I don't know, just. I don't know. I mean, we've got one more race next week at Portimao. Maybe the luck can go on my side for once. So,
well, maybe. I mean, now the championship is out of the way. Maybe that'll break the hoodoo, and you can then take the victory. I don't know. Maybe that is the case. I mean,
if I'm completely honest with you, George, I haven't even been paying attention to the championship from lap round 1 all the way to the end. I have had no idea how many points I've had, where I am in the championship. I literally have not paid any attention to it. I just sort of. My approach for PSGL has firmly been just like turn up with whatever preparation you've got, whether it's very little, which is kind of sometimes the case, and then sometimes a lot, but and just give it 110. And I mean, I take pride in the small. I'm really happy with the small things. I mean, I put myself in. Well, I didn't really put myself in, but I found myself in like pressurized situations on multiple occasions, especially in the qualifying, and the last run was quite a good lap considering limitations. So I'm quite happy with all of these things when you add them up. And as you say, I mean, without the safety car, it would have been maybe a different story, because Jano was very much hanging on to the DRS. If I got rid of him, I think it could have been a closed book. But this is what you call, shoulda, coulda, woulda. There's quite a lot of it in racing. So it is what it is. I am still laughing. I'm still happy, even though this season has been, it's like, what's the expression, kick them when they're down, and it's continued kicking the whole season. So, I don't know, I'm just sort of like laughing at it, but I'm kind of happy that I can laugh at it, because I feel like I put up a good, sorry, I can't speak, my brain's completely broken, but put up a good drive, and I hope it was fun to watch. Oh man, I was like, if I won that race, I genuinely think I would have exploded, because it would have been I wouldn't have thought with the hards I would have managed it, but one lap makes a difference, and today was one of those days. But again, I mean, in the first place, GG to Jano as well on the win. I mean, he played his cards well, he did everything he needed to do, and to win the championship, I think I heard as well, and on his interview. So, fair play to everyone, GG, and I don't really know what else to say.
Well, no, I got to say, credit to you. Great drive and an awesome P2. Obviously, you'll go to Portimao. We'll see how you get on. Hopefully, the luck will be in your favour this time, Lucas. But honestly, cracking job, mate. And we'll look forward to seeing you next week. What a drive.
Yeah, I look forward to... I mean, I'm looking forward to racing at Portimao, because we've never really done it before. So it's going to be a new experience. Let's see what it throws up. Hopefully I win for me. That'd be nice, actually.
Absolutely.
So, maybe a little bit of a Lux win, a Lux swing, but I don't know. I'm just happy. I'm just laughing. I've not stopped smiling for like 10 minutes because I don't know how to react.
results are results. It was a great drive, brilliant. I mean, I have to say, holding on to P2 in the end was a great result. So you deserve every bit of credit in the book, and hopefully that'll be translated into a P1 at Portimao. We'll have to wait and see. It's all on the table. It's all up to play for. Obviously now, heading towards the end of the season, anything can happen. But obviously all of us here at PSGL wish you the very best of luck, Lucas. I'm pretty sure you're a fan favourite now on that basis, so we'll have to wait and see. But very best of luck though, my friend, and I'm sure we'll see you back in the box. I want to bring you in the commentary box next week as well anyway, because I like talking to you. So there we go.
No problem. Thank you very much for having me, and I look forward to next week.
Legend. Well done, Lucas. Thank you ever so much for joining us. Amazing stuff indeed. But folks, that was an exceptional race, an exceptional championship. And Dan, I don't know how was supposed to sum that up. I mean, how much more drama can you get in one race? I mean, that basically, we had a pretty calm race. It all seemed to flow, nice ebbs and flows. You know, a couple of nice overtakes, a couple of things to shout and scream about, but those final few laps, that safety car, that's what did it. That was the peripheral figure in that race, wasn't it?
Absolutely. I think it's more of a question of how much action a race can have and how much we can take, really. Because I personally, if you know, I'm still coughing now. I think I need to ship all of these drivers a medical bill for all of the stuff I want to buy, all the supplements to cure my voice, because I think permanently it's gonna be completely shot. But yeah, it was a brilliant race, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Despite having the sore throat issues, of course, I was messaging you and Connor throughout the day about my sore throat. I managed to get through it, drinking lots of tea as well to try and soothe it. Somehow we've come out on the other side.
Yeah, you made it happen, my friend. Brilliant stuff. And I just want to say as well, folks, you know, a lot of this, you know, that race there, I dedicate that to you guys at home as well for watching, because honestly, we have had such a crazy season here at PSGL this season. Obviously, we've had our challenges with the first iterations of the F1 game. It's been so tough to bring you the racing. Obviously, we've had lots of challenges. You know, we've had things happen. But at the end of the day, what a story. What a story. We've got one race left, of course, next week. But I want to dedicate this Chinese Grand Prix to the PSGL fans and followers at home who are watching in every week without fail at 7 o'clock on a Thursday night. You guys mean the world to me and this league as well. You come in, you slap us down with your interest. Obviously, we like to hear your opinions. Amazing indeed. And I gotta say, without you guys, league racing couldn't happen, and it wouldn't happen the way it is being shown right now. We're really upping the trend here. League racing is bigger than it's ever been in its history, and it's all thanks to you guys at home for tuning in. Everyone getting into the racing and watching the racing, commenting on the racing, and I have to say it's a pleasure. So I really hope you're going to smash that subscribe and also smash the like button as well. That race will certainly go down long in memory, certainly for me. An amazing finale to an incredible race, but thank you all so much from the bottom of my heart, and I'm sure Dan would say the same as well. I think we'll plug the socials now. You can check out Premier Sim Gaming Leagues, folks, on their Twitter account. That is PSGL. That is Premier Sim Gaming Leagues, or Premier Sim GL. That is the tag. So make sure you click at and then put Premier Sim GL. That is the Twitter handle. So please leave them a follow as well. You can also find me, George Morgan. I'm your commentator every Thursday night at 7 o'clock for the PC F1 broadcast. You can find me at George Morgan TV. Please don't hesitate to tweet me or message me. I always respond, and I like to respond to you guys at home as well. And Dan, do you want to slam them with your Twitter handle as well?
Yeah, of course. You can find me on Twitter at danfieldf1_, and like George, I'll reply to every message I get, and you can all send me your DMs, and I will 100% reply to that. But that is my Twitter handle, danfieldf1_, all of that in lowercase.
There you have it, folks. Amazing race, incredible Chinese Grand Prix, and what a pleasure. It's been nothing short of exquisite. We witnessed a true masterclass from a world beater, a world champion, an F1 esports champion, who has now taken his second PSGL PC crown, but third crown overall, as Dan Field obviously noted me. But next week, we will go to Portimao, folks, for the grand finale. It's been a pleasure. I've been George Morgan. He's been Dan Field. We'll see you next week at 7 o'clock. Don't miss it. Take care. Goodbye.